You ready?
Yeah, I think so.
Welcome to the Pixel Response Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Pixel Response Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Paul, and with me is Nathan.
Yeah, as usual.
As usual. It's been a while. This is surreal in a weird way. Do you want to
Okay.
know how long it's been since, okay.
I am curious. Yeah, I
So,
live in a different time bubble now, so I don't know.
yeah. So, the last time we talked to each other through this medium, basically, you hung out with me and Hank, basically, for an episode.
Okay.
So not counting that, the last time we did something together, like through Skype over the internet or whatever, and recorded it,
Yeah.
was March 16th, 2015.
Okay. So that is like what, 14 months, 15 months?
Yeah, about a year and a half, basically.
Weirdly, that's like about what I was like 14 months sounds right, and I don't know why that is. Wait,
Yeah.
no, it's more like, is it more like 17? Year and a half?
We're on
1
8
year,
now.
and
1
then
year and 4
August.
months. It's 16 months.
16 months.
Yep.
So I was shy. I was okay.
Yep.
All right. How's it been going?
See,
on
the weird
the
thing is
website.
that we have seen each other.
Yeah, on
Like,
occasion. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not the last time we talked, is then, but it feels a little more formal now, doing an intro and all that
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
Going back to Pixel Response instead of Burning Barrel, because that's kind of what we did, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just media matters. It doesn't actually say that on this cup I have here, but
No.
on like 800 business cards I still have somewhere. It
So
totally does.
You dug up the cup then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did. I like that it's extra tall, but
It's a big cup.
yeah.
It's a lot of coffee or tea or orange juice, whatever you want to put in there. I don't
Yeah.
know why I'm trying to advertise it. You can't buy it anymore, but whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been secretly sneaking into Burning Barrel every now and then and like fixing some typos, but that's like all I've been doing. I don't know if you've even noticed.
The one thing I did notice is that you and Hank had a discussion about Bridge of Spies or something.
Oh, we did have a disagreement about Bridge of Spies. I just found it an odd movie to be enraged about because it seemed
Sure.
like at its worst, it's just 50s like cheese
Sure.
kind of mentality. So I don't know, but it got right under his skin apparently, and I was confused. But I
The
don't
thing
know.
that
It
was
doesn't
so
matter.
good
We can't
about
have
that
yeah.
is just saying, like, these were both just, like, paragraphs upon paragraphs in response to each other. It's like, yeah, those are my podcast co-hosts.
Yeah.
Just paragraphs on paragraphs.
That would have been a long time ago too, though. That's like 9
That
months
was-
ago that movie came out.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
it
a while
bit
ago.
after that when the review happened too, so I was late seeing it. So I know it was after that, but
Gotcha.
whatever. I've
Yeah.
since seen like the new Steven Spielberg movie, which nobody cares
Which
about,
one?
which is also Mark Rylance, the BFG.
I don't even know. Oh, right, I heard about this. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
don't care about it.
Exactly, nobody does. I don't
Right.
know who. Well, big budget, 150 million or whatever, but yeah, the world didn't really care very much.
Right.
For me, the only thing that was like really like stand out about that whole thing was I saw it at a drive-in. That was my first drive-in movie.
That's pretty cool. That's
So
cool.
it definitely like helped it a lot because it's fine. It's like totally family entertainment, big spectacle thing at times, but seeing it that way made it a little special. So I don't know.
Sure.
If you can do that, maybe it's worth seeing. But yeah.
What if I can't?
I don't know. Other Roald Dahl adaptations are perhaps better, like The Witches or Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I do like The Witches. That's like from my childhood.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in years though. And by years I mean maybe 20 plus.
Wow. Okay.
It's been a long
We
time.
watched it sort of recently on Laserdisc. It's a weird movie. It holds up okay. Like a lot of the miniature effects and stuff are still okay. It's more just like how it ends is really weird.
Yeah.
Like it just gets a good witch was around apparently and fixes everything, which I guess wasn't how the book went. But anyway,
Yeah, I remember reading the book, but I don't. Again, like if I saw the movie 20 plus years ago, I read the book maybe like 24 years ago.
yeah,
Like,
okay,
yeah, it was, yeah, a long time. But anyways, so
yeah,
BFG is whatever.
BFG, Mark Rylance,
Yeah,
yeah,
cool. All right.
and that's the latest. Now,
Yeah,
if there's
talk
something
about
I'm
movies.
actually, if there's like something I'm curious about more media wise that
Yeah,
I feel like you're the person to ask about,
yeah,
uh,
okay.
those Souls video games, you know,
Okay,
the
I
from
can't talk
software.
about Bloodborne because I
Fair
don't have
enough,
the
yeah.
means to play it, but yes, I've played all the others.
Okay. I finally like actually cracked into Dark Souls, I feel. Like I hope I can say that now. I
Dark
like
Souls 1?
Dark Souls 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Which seems to be like the one to get on board the train with
Yeah.
cuz I had played like maybe a dozen hours of Demon Souls before and kind of knew there was something there
Yep.
and liked it and tried to like it more, but I don't know, it was a little rough.
Demon Souls is convoluted design for no reason. Dark
Well,
Souls kind of brought the stuff that worked to the forefront more, I feel, and like was just a more enjoyable experience. I think like that's the reason that one got picked up, right, by everybody.
yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's like once I committed to the idea of really playing it, it seemed a lot more inviting than when I was trying to play Demon Souls. Like I actually like picked up like I purchased a physical copy of Demon Souls. It's on its way here via Amazon.
Sure.
I tried buying it other places. I was looking, but no one has it. I know it's greatest hits, so I figured maybe it's just around,
Sure.
but not enough apparently. Um, just to like have it and just to kind of monetarily reward those dudes somehow for just
Yeah.
really interesting design stuff. But does it not have Estus Flask and like bonfire stuff? Because that seems really inviting in comparison to how I remember Demon Souls, the way it like just reverts back to no, you start in like a spawn area and then you choose a world to go to kind of, and then it
Sorry,
loads up.
does Whatnot have Estus Flask?
Does Demon Souls have that mechanic or
No,
no?
no, no. Demon Souls had various different herbs that cured your health up, like depending what herb it was, it would do more or less health.
Okay, but were those just like you hope to get those and you have to purchase them? Like there was no replenished supply of healing items?
Right, there wasn't just the game didn't throw you a bone. Like if you wanted
Okay.
healing items, you had to work for them somehow, basically.
Yeah, yeah, okay. That's how I recall it, but I was like, man, that just seems like such a night and day difference.
Yeah,
Because
it
when I was
is.
playing Dark Souls, it's just like, oh, I'm just way more comfortable to like explore and figure stuff out
Yep.
because I know I can always revert back to a state where I have some health, and then it's kind of like your little invisible leash or whatever, like seeing how far you can get from where you were staked, I
Yeah.
guess. And just
And
kind of
then
go
moving that
around and
stake to another
yeah,
spot and then doing it
as you
again.
can kind of figure out new areas and stuff. And the flow of the areas just seems to be more like I don't know if intuitive or it just kind of is more apparent like, oh, I can fight these guys now. So I should probably I can do some stuff here. Like I'll
Right.
figure this out. I do have some specific like just some very specific Dark Souls 1 things that have been nagging at me for a while. I just beat Blighttown basically today. Like
Okay.
I killed Queeleg, the horrible fire spider person.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I hate
that
Blighttown.
was yeah. I don't know. It was pitched to me by a friend of mine as like, oh, Blighttown's like the best area in the game.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
if he was
Because
being a joker
yeah,
or
it's a well-known like maybe trope or something in the
okay.
community that like Blaytown is the worst.
Okay. Maybe
Yeah,
he was pulling my leg a bit.
I'm
There
sure
seems
he
to be
was.
like a sort of weirdly like a cynical or jokey tone to some of the way the community talks about the game. Like
Yep.
if someone has a question, the answer will be like sort of rude or wrong or something. I don't know how to like there's a bonfire in the first area and
Right.
someone was asking, "Hey, what's going on? Like I can't light this bonfire." And then the answer was just like, Oh, dude, yeah, you can't light bonfires anymore. Like past that point in the game, you ran out or something like that. And it's just like, that's not true. Like you can light other bonfires. Why would you tell him that? But it's just like, haha, I tricked you. I don't
Yeah.
know. I like. There's definitely components of the game that I feel like I've screwed up or I'm not gonna like. Is there multiple endings? Like, is that true?
Uh,
Like, is there ways to
it,
screw yourself out of stuff?
no, 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 no. The
Okay, okay.
like without getting too specific,
Like,
there's multiple endings, but
yeah,
not really. It's the same outcome either way. Like the world is still fucked,
yeah,
basically.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all grim and moody and I
Yeah.
don't know, like skeletons and giant ravens and all sorts of weird stuff.
Let me
But
put it this way: you do not fight back like the darkness.
okay,
It's still there, which is
we're
why
in
there's so
like the
many
land of
games.
the undead or whatever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's just that way. Like, what about what's kindling? Why would I do that? Is that important? Because I
Kindling?
don't usually. Yeah, like
I'm
I'm
guessing
usually.
you mean like when you use a humanity,
Yeah.
it turns
No,
you
no,
human.
that's reverse hollowing.
Yeah,
So I
okay.
turned human, and that I've appreciated because it's like I, as far as I understand, when you're human, other humans can fight you, and that has happened a couple times where like
Sure.
they'll drop into my world, and then it's like I suddenly have to deal with this person too, and you have to battle that guy. But
So for
what?
kindling, you mean
Yeah,
you offer up like humanity to the bonfire, right?
it's also a menu selection at the bonfire, so you can reverse your
Yeah.
hollow, and then there's another thing for
You
kindling.
yeah. It increases your Estus flask.
Oh, okay. That sounds really good. Because, like, the only way I've been upgrading my Estus flask has been the Firekeeper souls.
Oh yeah,
When
okay.
I find those, which has only been one or two so far, so I don't know. I don't know what to really express about the game because I know it's really caught on in a big way, and there's several sequels now, and it's all everybody's on board with Dark Souls. But I don't know. It's been kind of a refreshing video game experience for just like oh, right. Just letting you kind of encounter new things as you do, and just kind of getting freaked out that this giant mushroom is going to punch you now, and that's
Right.
how you got introduced to that can happen kind of
Right.
thing. Like, even when it goes all wrong, like I got cursed by a black basilisk when I was at the
Sure.
bottom of Blighttown, essentially.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I got to go buy a purging stone and that's going to be so horrible. And it was like 3 hours
Yeah.
of like trying to fight my way back up to various bonfires to get back to the surface so I
Yeah.
could actually scrape together 6,000 souls and buy that thing. But I kind of appreciated how uncompromising it was. It's just like, no, man,
Yeah.
that's
For
just
sure.
what happened. You got cursed, and it's bad. It has to
Yeah.
be bad, or else it's not a
Yo, you didn't
curse.
like it? You shouldn't have gotten cursed, I guess. Like that's what the
I
game's
mean,
saying, basically.
I'd dealt with like the regular basilisks in the depths before, but these ones were black, so I probably should have been more careful. But they seemed to curse faster than I was ready for.
Right.
Uh, but it was just like, all right, well, natural consequences. Now I know how that works, and I am now totally incapable of fighting Quelaag right now. I'm gonna
Right.
have to solve this problem.
Yeah.
And eventually that just kind of led to like, well, I'm just gonna go back to the blacksmith guy, upgrade all my stuff. Like, and eventually I'm just like stomping around the game, like just destroying things. And I'm just gonna fight that knight that was at the top of that tower. I bet I can take him now, and I totally did. And it was awesome.
Cool.
So I don't know. I really like what's happening there. I guess like I bought two also. Like
Sure.
it's on its way along with Demon Souls. I'm told that's kind of different because it's a different director,
Yeah.
but it's
Yep.
still pretty good.
Yeah. No, it's still pretty good. It definitely feels a little more linear.
Okay.
Maybe a
There's
little
sort of a
more focused
linearity.
on what story they're trying to tell in it.
Oh, okay. Like
But
cut scenes or something.
no, no, it's
Okay.
still a Souls game. It's just that the reason people really like Dark Souls is that it kind of has like that you have the main hub area and then you just kind of like have the branching paths or whatever to different areas and then you end up coming back.
Yeah.
Dark Souls is much more like you like start in like a main area, then you go down a path until like that path ends, and then you like go back.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's
Or
no
there's like
weird
cool
like
little
branch.
shortcuts
Yeah.
that fold back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're just like, oh, weird. There was a way back to this bonfire just via
Yep.
this ladder. I forgot about that. So what's with that dragon? Can I kill that guy? Like,
Oh yeah, on the
should I have
bridge.
done that by now? If I'm already clearing Blighttown, like, am
You
I
mean
more
on
than
the
equipped?
bridge in the first
Yeah, the
area?
bridge dragon. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things you can do, like this isn't like spoilers or anything because you're past it,
Yeah.
is if you just like buy 100 arrows and just like have whatever bow you can get, you can just
Yeah.
like shoot his tail from a safe spot like 100 times basically to kill him, and then you get like the Great Drake Sword or something, which will carry you through most of the like first half of the game.
Okay, I've heard about this Drake sword. I almost thought it was kind of like the gargoyles, like where you could cut off their tail or whatever, like
Mm.
that kind of special item. So maybe you had to shoot their like the dragon's tail in a specific spot, and then it would break apart or something.
Well, you just
But
kill him, and then you like, I think you get it from behind him or something, or maybe it just goes
okay,
into your inventory when you kill him. I can't remember.
I definitely have a lot of arrows now, so I can do that. I
Sure.
was shooting his tail for a little bit, but I was just like, I think it's just respawning, or like
Nope.
his health might just
You
be
can kill
filling.
him.
I can't. Okay, okay. I guess I'll just set aside a little while to do that at some point.
Yeah.
I was trying to like figure some other way, like, well, I have all this fire resistant stuff now because I was fighting Queeleg. Maybe I can deal with this, and no, I just got totally roasted alive several times, and it was
Yeah.
fun in its own way. Like I don't know if it's the PC version has. I know it was kind of controversial when it came out in terms of like being optimized for PC frame rates and everything. The demon runes that I went into right after Queeleg's domain
Uh-huh.
didn't seem to be running super great. I don't know if it was just all those weird kind of puss bag dudes full of bugs that you could run into right away. Like maybe there's just too many enemies in that first area for my video card or something. It's a vast area though. So
Yeah.
considering how big it was, I guess it was running okay. But I don't know. I might want to look into unlocking that frame rate and see
So
if I can.
you're playing it on PC then?
Yeah.
That was going to be my question to you at the beginning, but I completely forgot it. So there we go.
That's where I ended up playing it. So
Cool.
I must have picked it up in a Steam sale a long time ago. Like I just kind of saw that I had it a couple months ago. I was just like, man, that's great. I should actually play that. So I don't know. It's been rewarding in its own way. But
Sure.
so you've played Dark Souls 1, 2, 3 then, like to completion.
And demons. 1
Okay.
and 2 to completion. I still haven't finished off 3 yet, and I've never finished Demon Souls.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what my intentions are really with Demon Souls, but I want to give it a look again sometime. I've heard some okay stuff.
Yeah, no, there's really great stuff in Demon Souls, but it doesn't play
Yeah.
as smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like it's sort of not a great comparison maybe, but like it's sort of the same, appealing to the same center of my mind that this game did. When I first played Resident Evil 4, and you're
Yeah.
kind of just like going through it, and then suddenly there's awful bugs and stuff, like just how you meet new enemies in that game.
Oh my
Like,
god, regenerators.
yeah, like
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
kind of like dumps you in a room with like a new thing to figure out, and it's
Yeah.
like this monster is gonna kill you unless you figure out what's going on. It's
And then
just
it like shivers at you and then starts walking toward yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
terrifying. I
Like,
hate it.
it's sort of a similar vibe for me when I'm like going into the depths or something, and then I see that gigantic rat.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
just like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And I like something called the ceaseless discharge or something I just saw in the demon runes, and it was just like, well, I don't. All right, like it just totally destroyed me. I have no idea, and oh well, like it's just encountering crazy creatures. Like the first time I actually made it to the base of Blighttown and was on that big kind of like bug lair,
Sure.
I like stood at the entrance of it and just kind of went, no, I don't want to know what's in
Like,
here,
fuck
and ran
this.
away.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, I'm gonna figure some other place to be. Like
Yeah.
this is no good at all. But I love that the environments and stuff are just so intimidating
Yeah.
on their own that it was just kind of like actual Drama, I hate those mosquitoes though. They just
Oh
keep
God, I
spawning
know,
two
I
at a
know.
time, and I'm trying to fight these rock throwing dudes, and then oh
Yep.
wait, I gotta weave away, use my bow, kill these stupid things, or they're not gonna kill me, but they might poison me and just kind of cause headaches. So I don't know,
Yep.
but
It's
yeah,
all terrible.
but kind of great. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's wonderful stuff. So
for
yeah,
sure.
video games. That's been my big kind of glowing video game of late.
Cool.
Uh, yeah.
Cool, man.
What's Oh yeah. Plus, I mean, there's that thing that everyone's doing, and I'm doing that too. I actually changed cell phones so I could do it better. Uh,
Amazing.
yeah, Pokemon Go.
Wait,
I'm back on the smartphone train.
I was gonna say, so you're back, like, I think iPhone, right? Your iPhone.
Yeah, I got an
Yeah,
iPhone.
right. So, like, that actually works for, like, phone calls and shit now. Again.
Yeah, yes, it does. I'm
So,
not using the flip phone
when
anymore.
you were texting me, it was, like, through that pad.
Yes. Actually, I think I was even iMessaging. Oh no, you don't have that, so it must have been on here. Yeah,
Oh,
you're right.
okay. Okay.
Yep, that was on. That was on this thing.
All right.
That's only as of a couple days ago. So
We should talk a little bit, maybe we could even wrap up with it of, like, where you been, what's been going on sort of thing. But
yeah.
ignoring all that, you're back with the smartphone or whatever.
Uh,
How do you like Pokemon Go? What's your experience been?
it's been generally positive in terms of just like it makes walking through neighborhoods more interesting. I don't
Sure.
know. Like it's kind
Okay.
of like we've been kind of going down the same stretch a lot more than we used to. It's Inglewood. It's a neighborhood near us.
Right.
That's kind of a lot of shops and things, and just kind of sort of a
Is it
more
near you?
nightlife.
Did you move?
Well, I'm in the same place I've been for a couple
Oh,
years,
okay.
but it's generally not very far.
Okay.
It's yeah, kind of just across the river kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, for kind of walking later in the day, that's where we'll end up on occasion. And it's just you're just walking down the street and it's just like, hey, let's there's supposed to be a Psyduck over here. Let's go see what's over here.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
and we failed to catch that Psyduck, but
That sucks.
it was still kind of fun to just poke around a neighborhood and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I guess it's not fully fleshed out and all the, it's
Like as an app, it fails so hard, but as like
well
a
that you have to
concept, it's
have it
fun.
open
Yeah.
all the time in order for anything to
It's
happen.
pretty poorly made mechanically. Like it's a pretty bad app.
I guess that's the thing. Yeah, like there's a lot of like, well, this is the worst game everyone's playing or something, like just this
Yeah.
negative
Yeah.
thing in the air about it. But it's just like, well, I mean, apparently it's fine because I'm playing it. And so like there's crazy critters and I throw a ball at them and
Sure.
whatever. I never really got into the Pokemon games proper, so I'm only sort of like through osmosis familiar with these character names and creatures and everything. Like it's just kind of been in the culture for most of my life, so I vaguely remember some of the things. That theme song from the show has been in
Yep.
our heads a lot lately.
It's funny that
Um,
you bring up that you didn't really play through the games or anything, because I was listening to an old podcast, kind of like in not preparation, but to like
where
just
were we
remember
at kind of thing? Yeah,
nostalgia, I guess, or whatever you'd call it, if it's been long enough for nostalgia.
yeah.
Um, and one of the things that was going on for a while is that we would do voicemails. Meowth would call in and she would ask about if you had found Heart Gold yet.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. I don't know. Like
And
I
every
still to
time
this
you're just like,
day,
no.
I'm a little like, was it stolen? Like I don't know what happened to it because it just
Right.
disappeared. Like I might turn up in some odd location at some point. Like maybe it's in my super old like DS that is also missing. My first gen
That makes
thick
sense.
blue DS. Yeah, like something is awry. Like something it went missing. I had the Pokewalker for a long time. I think
Yeah.
there's something trapped in there still, but it probably needs new
It's
batteries
just,
at this point.
it's just doomed to
Yeah,
never
it's
get out.
probably maxed out its steps forever ago, and now it's just useless. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like I just never got pulled into those games really. I tried that one. I loaded it up and was just kind of baffled at how slow the walking speed was, and then you needed to get running shoes in order to move at an acceptable rate. And I was
And
just
then
like, this
like a
is
bike
ridiculous.
after that to go like the rate you actually wanted
Actually
to go.
want, because you're
Yeah.
just running around doing little tasks anyway. Like I don't know. It never got me.
Sure.
But I mean, whatever. They're like funny looking creatures, and some of them I enjoy more than others. But they're
Yeah.
fine. They're a fun excuse to do augmented reality type stuff. Like I guess it's just as I've been like generally familiar with like geocaching since that started because a friend of mine was getting into it. So this is elements of that. But
Well, I
instead of like
mean,
digging around in the bushes for like a box of coins or something, it's just like, no, it's right there. There we go. Let's
yeah,
keep going.
like this is
Yeah.
brought up all the time, but the people that make this made like the first game to really do this stuff called Ingress.
Yeah, yeah.
So like this is literally Ingress with Pokemon strapped onto it.
But
Like
that's
it's
like just
yeah,
a appealing thing
it's
everybody
enough.
knows.
It's
So it's
enough.
the wrapper it needs kind
Yeah.
of in order to be appealing. Yeah. Like there's so many extraordinary news stories surrounding the game and those kind of catch my eye. Like just like the New York governor wants like sex offenders to be taken into account by the developers so that they can't have Pokestops anywhere near them because that's
Sure.
dangerous and
Right.
stuff like this. Like it's just that level of like augmented reality game breakthrough that laws are changing and stuff. Like it's just weird.
Yep.
But and like it's definitely a thing where you're just like, oh, that guy's over there's playing. Like you're just walking down the street and yeah, those people are playing. Like you could tell because they got the battery thing plugged into their phone. Like they're
Right. Right.
you know, or
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
glance back as someone walks past you and it's like, yep, there's a Pokeball on the screen. Like it's pretty much everywhere. But yeah, so I fell into that at least for a bit. Uh, my wife's been playing it more, so
Right.
that's
I need to bring this up because I won't stop getting probably questions about this until I just ask you.
okay.
What team are you?
Oh boy. I hope I wanted to choose the cool team that no one's on because that's kind of the cool
Okay.
thing to do, but I
Sure.
didn't because Brittany was already on Valor, so I'm on
Nice.
Valor.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay.
The reason being, like, I know you're not in my area ever. There was no
Okay.
Valor in my area for like
Just like man, we gotta
weeks.
tip the scales here.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea. It was
I
all
seem to be in a
instinct.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. But my understanding is Instinct's the least popular team by a significant margin. So I
Yeah,
was kind of like, oh man, they need
except
help
in the
there.
northeast of Calgary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our area seems really contested. Like it swaps colors every day. There's a couple of gyms right near us. So we just kind of load it
Right.
up. It's like, oh, it's blue right now. Okay. Like that was actually probably the most like direct conflict thing that's happened with us. We were there at the corner taking that gym, and then someone was like, "Hey, which team are you?" It's like Valor. It's like, all right. And he slunk off, and he was instinct, and he snaked that gym from us. When we beat it, he took it. It was weird. It was like there was just a second where it was just vacant, and he got
Yeah.
in there. So then we fought it off again, but then yeah, it was just dumb. But it was like it's that guy right over there. We're like through this weird proxy fighting that guy in this video game.
Yeah.
This is weird. Like I don't know if they introduce like true battle to battle stuff, which I guess they're talking about. I don't know. Like too many weird interactions with strangers are in the future, and I might never play it again.
Sure,
But
I can see that. See, that's what I'm more interested in to play with friends, though.
yeah. Like it's
Like
I
not
was asking
strangers,
earlier,
but friends.
like, hey, we're on the same like general team. Can I add you? It's like, no, there's no way we can interact directly at all.
No.
Oh, okay, cool. That's weird. But yeah,
Even Mitomo, we could add each other. Just saying.
I still have loaded that up a couple times
Wow.
this week
All right.
just to claim coins or whatever. It also
Right.
runs way better on this new phone.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like before, it was crashing like several times every time I'd open. Like it was like Mitomo, I'm trying to support you, but you
Yeah.
won't.
I'm the
let me do
last
it.
person. I'm your last friend.
Like I know everyone else has deleted it. I like it's the same
Yeah.
answers over and over again, but I just want to load it up, check the store, maybe there's a cool hood or something I can wear, just whatever, and it just crashes out. And I think it was because of the photo of the day, like the me photo. It just
Yeah.
would always hang there and then just crash back. And it was just they finally added you can just disable that and not get
Oh.
a dope photo every day.
That's
which
pretty
is
cool.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's not fantastic because Mitomo isn't really that good
No.
at all.
It takes up way too much phone space, too. That's why it had to go. If it was, like, half the size, it would still be on my phone. Easy.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
I guess Pokemon Go is pretty good on data too. Like I don't have very much, but
Yeah,
like,
Pokemon Go is super good. It can actually be even better on data if you download the city you live in's map into it.
ooh, that would be primarily where I am. So
And
that's
then the only thing that really takes is, like, probably just data of other people's Pokemon. Like,
yeah.
and
Like
so what
what
is
is
that, like
currently.
kilobytes maybe, as opposed to like a megabyte?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still really early. I think I'm level 6. Like I was
Oh,
finally
okay.
allowed to choose a team and look at gyms at all,
Okay.
like
Cool.
yesterday.
Cool.
So what are you at? Like 16 or
Oh
20?
God, no. I don't even know. I haven't actually booted it up in a long time because I've just been kind of going back and forth from work to home, and
Oh yeah.
there's just nothing in my area, and near work is even there's actually a Pokestop near work, by the way.
Oh, okay, good. I guess I have like tons of Pokeballs, but
You
if I
know,
need to,
like this is maybe too specific. You know that trampoline place?
yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
that's a Pokestop.
Darn, that's like it's not like you can just duck
No.
outside and get it though.
No,
So
it's like you go on your lunch break and walk there and walk back, and that was your break time. But whatever.
and it's good for you, so it's got that.
Sure.
I don't know.
That being
I'm,
said, I haven't booted up in a while. Haven't really had a whole lot of time to just go like walking around and doing that stuff, even though I've kind of wanted to on some days, and then the other days it's been raining like super crazy. So,
yeah, it's been kind of. I mean, I know that's super boring local weather news, but it
it
seems to be just like the stormiest
yeah,
season I can recall.
it's kind of the end of the
But
world.
well,
Like,
just thunderstorms all the time. It's really weird.
I
Like
started
it's
building
just
my arc. So,
okay.
yeah.
I know our local rodeo wasn't too pleased with how it went,
I'm
but
sure, yeah, especially for their the Stampede.
it kind of never let up though. Like there was
Right.
talk like, well, we should just move it to later in July. It's like that wouldn't have done anything. Like
No.
it really didn't
It would have
ever
actually
stop
been
happening.
worse. We had like monsoon weather after the
Like
Stampede.
hailstorms and
Yeah.
yeah. It hasn't been as devastating as it was, I think, last year or 2 years ago. There was a hailstorm that flooded our back alley because it
Well,
like knocked plant matter into the drains and
I was
clogged
gonna
everything.
say it hasn't been as detrimental to you personally, because I
Yeah,
remember
exactly.
seeing the picture of like the water like taking over your car.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, but there's definitely been those fears. Like it's just like, oh man, it's starting to storm again. I better check outside. Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
I've seen pictures of the hail actually just this last week when we got like a really bad hailstorm of like people's windshields being smashed in and stuff from it. Like it was pretty bad.
Fortunately, yeah, that hasn't. But okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
won't doubt. There was definitely anecdotes of big divots and stuff happening.
yeah,
But
for sure.
anyway, that's Calgary local weather fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody's corner of the world is a bit different. I don't know what to bring people up to speed on in terms of like major stuff that's happened in the last 16 months.
I know at
Like,
least one thing. Okay, so a few months ago, like
yeah,
before you and I went for pizza and discussed this again,
yeah,
really, this is really inside baseball, but
we
I
did go to pizza. We can
we did.
elaborate, but
It was pretty good. We could elaborate, but before that even is what I'm getting at. Because
yep,
I
yep,
threw it
yep.
on Twitter, like if you could ask like Nathan's opinion on just like one thing or whatever, what would it
Oh,
be?
okay.
And the consensus is Undertale. People want to
Oh,
know what you
okay.
think about Undertale.
I guess that blew up pretty big, fan wise and everything for a while. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I only did one playthrough of it though.
Right. The
So I
right
haven't.
playthrough.
Was it though? Like it was the kind of mixed bag one. So I
Oh,
don't think
no.
I've seen the true best
Yeah,
way
you're right.
to.
No, you're about not halfway, but like, you're right. You
Yeah,
didn't do the
I think
full.
it's the same mistake everybody apparently makes
Yeah.
is yeah, like trying to play true. What is it like? Peaceful. What do you call that in the game?
Pacifist.
Pacifist. Yeah, like generally trying to do that, but you've already gone through a tutorial where you didn't essentially, and now you have to deal with that consequence later.
And because of
Um,
John, I know that you have to mercy her, the person
yeah,
you're talking about, 24 times.
yeah. I finally like did that
Yeah.
again, and it's just like okay. so now I can play the rest of this game again,
Yep.
doing it right. And there's like a few things I missed apparently with like Undine and stuff like that. But I don't know. I generally enjoyed that game. Like people saying it's like Earthbound, I don't know. I would say it's a lot more approachable than Earthbound because I didn't play all of Earthbound.
Okay.
Because it's very
I
drawn
think
out.
honestly, I think it has more charm than Earthbound. Like
Sure,
I
like
wanted to play this more. Like I played a bunch of Earthbound the day that what's his name died. Oh my god, why am I blanking on his name?
which person? What do you?
The the guy who like did
Oh,
Earthbound.
Iwata? Yeah, that's
Iwata,
right.
yeah. The
He
day
was a
he
big
died,
pro
I
guy,
played a
yeah,
bunch of Earthbound.
on
And
that game specifically. Yeah.
that game is while it is super charming and a pretty good game, Undertale just kind of like is more so, I think. I like the characters more definitely in Undertale.
Yeah. Or at least it's just like paced out in a way that's like more approachable for modern
Yep.
audiences or something. I don't know. It's just like, hey, we have a better sense of pacing. This is like 4 or 5 hours of like highlight reel stuff most of the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought it had good momentum and stuff. I played it kind of, when would I have played it? Like January of after it came out, kind of like once all the game of the year discussions were happening out there in the internet. I
So did you
was
know
paying
the
attention to
ending
some of that
from
stuff.
like spoiler talks or
Mm,
anything?
no, I
Okay,
hadn't
good.
heard anything that
Cool.
specific. So I was just told it's really neat. You should see kind of what it does, and it was like okay, and yeah, I generally agree with that. I
Cool.
my understanding though is it has something to do with that giant webcomic thing that
Homestuck.
yeah, is that true? Like directly ties right into that?
The creator Toby Fox also did stuff with Homestuck people or
Okay,
whatever. Yeah.
okay. Like that's just one giant internet thing I have no real firsthand knowledge of. So
Me neither. I don't
yeah,
have any knowledge at all of it, basically, except for like every time I go to a convention, I see people that are like obsessed with Homestuck, apparently, I'm told, because they're wearing certain hats or something. I don't know. Whatever.
yeah. No, it's like yeah, there's a few like giant internet phenomena things that I just don't know, and that cosplay is where I kind of just go. That's at this point, that's either Homestuck or like a MOBA.
What about
That
Naruto?
I think I could maybe suss out a Naruto character. I
Yeah,
could
me
tell
too.
that that's a Naruto character.
I've seen a bunch of Naruto.
I watched
So,
the first season of Naruto, so anything beyond that, I
sure.
may have heard of at this point. But yeah,
Yeah,
um,
okay.
I mean, we did go to that the Oda Con, Oda Fest. That was what it was.
We didn't meet
Here,
up, though. I went home.
oh no, I mean we went to this year's one. But yeah,
Oh,
that
you went to this one. Yeah, okay.
when we tried to go, you left in such disgust with that
There,
community of
yeah,
people.
yeah. There's a story
Uh,
about that, and people that remember. If you don't, go back in the
yeah,
histories, I
it's there.
guess.
It's recorded, so
It's.
it's
I
there.
was so angry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they moved it downtown and it seemed a lot bigger and crazier, but
Cool.
it's also kind of busy in a way that we couldn't watch One Punch Man because it was full, and I just wanted to see what that was.
I've never seen it either. So,
Yeah, I'm told it's funny. I don't know,
me too.
but anyway. Okay, so Undertale's good. I haven't explored it thoroughly 100% anything
Sure.
like that. So I didn't get fully sucked into the vortex the way some people have apparently, but it is an enjoyable thing. So I don't know.
I have
know you
something I'm
can-
a little curious about.
Okay.
If you would humor me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talked a lot, like, before this all went to shit and we stopped talking for some reason or whatever. We talked a lot about Gone Home when that came out.
Yeah.
Did you play Firewatch?
I did play Firewatch.
I So, like, for people that don't know, we've never actually talked about this, so I'm genuinely curious what you thought of that game.
I generally, I think I was a little like, oh, it's over already. Like when I played it all in one day,
Me too.
and it's totally a thing that like it's not a very long game, and I guess I kind of was prepared for that, but I just kind of I felt maybe a little like, oh, I kind of was hoping for a little more, maybe.
Are you part of that group that says, like, a 3-hour experience for $20 is bullshit, I want my money back?
No, like
Okay.
it's still something I'm just like, well, Brittany should probably play it, and we can then talk about it kind of like a movie or something. But Uh, I don't know. I'm trying to think what I specifically felt at the time. Like, hmm, I don't
I'll
know.
tell you
Like,
what I liked about it
yeah.
compared to Gone Home is
Okay.
that while in Gone Home you kind of like find out the story and you're kind of inner monologuing everything that's going on because like you know how your sister sounds and your parents sound or whatever. So like the character ostensibly would be like reading notes in probably their voice, or maybe like you as a player are reading notes in their voice, and then you hear the sister's voice on tape recordings and stuff, so you kind of know what she sounds like, blah blah blah. But it's all kind of in your head.
Hmm.
I really like the addition of that type of game with like dialogue between two people. Like I thought that made it a more engaging experience.
Yeah. Like it's kind of actually no, you're right. That is a bit more like I was like, oh, it's kind of like Bioshock where you're listening to the story that way, but you're not really talking
Right.
in that unless you're talking about. I guess Bioshock Infinite has that more so, but
Sure.
anyway, sure. Just interplay between two characters. It's kind of yeah, like a fun audio play or something. A
I
lot
think
of the way it
without
plays out.
that, I think without the dialogue, that game falls
Hmm.
apart for me.
Like just actually what you're doing and what
Yep.
you're capable of doing in
Y-
the campground and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked how it looked, like just the warm tones and
Sure.
everything, and like I threw that radio in the lake.
Oh yeah, me too. Fuck
Screw
those
you
kids, man.
guys.
Goddamn
Yeah,
kids.
how
Get
dare
off
you say
my
that?
island.
Yeah, I don't know. Like there was moments where I got pulled right into some story stuff. Like I don't know though. Like the way it kind of was really interested in kind of like its story and what it wants you to be curious about. Like I was just like, I just kind of want to sit in my tower and read a book or something. But it's like, no, you can't really do that. You got to go investigate what's going on. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there was like a moment or two that didn't really hit the way it was supposed to for
Right.
me in that story. And like one thing I still kind of feel every now and then, like I'm trying to remember what that game was. Home. It was like a side-scrolling game.
Yeah. By Ben Rivers, I think.
We talked to him, right?
I
Or you
did.
did? You
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Right. But it not to like highlight that game in a weird way, but I just mean like every now and then you kind of like perceive in a game that you can't really run into anybody because there
Right.
isn't anybody. It's not like in the game for that to happen.
Right.
I kind of felt that way with some of the later stuff in Firewatch, where it's like you're
Totally.
kind of supposed to be on edge, but I'm kind of not because I don't really believe that they're they coded it to have anything happen to you because it's a one man kind of play. Like
Right.
it's not really that way. So I don't know. There was little things like that, but anyway, generally positive. I guess I just wish there was
A little more.
like maybe and similar with Gone Home, like just how one time that experience is
Sure.
because you
Yeah.
can't really pour over it again and find
I mean, I
too much
uninstalled
different.
it after I finished it because I was like,
Yeah,
well, I saw it. I'm done. Like,
like maybe next time I can throw rocks at the radio, but whatever. Like it's not gonna really do much. Or like yeah, there was little details here and there I liked and generally liked it, but yeah,
did you find the turtle?
I don't I don't think
The
so.
turtle pet? And then you call him Turt Reynolds?
Nope, I don't think
Okay.
that happened to me.
Yeah, you
Did
know
you?
what?
So you did?
I did. And then it was
Okay.
a revelation to me talking to like Sean and some other people that played it. They never did,
Mm.
which is too bad because Turt Reynolds was cute.
Okay. Well,
He didn't do anything, but whatever. He's a turtle.
just a fun little unique thing that well, not unique, but it happened that way. Man, sorry. I guess I'm just trying to like just being in a video game. I was just playing Dark Souls a little while ago, so it's still in my head. When you first encountered slimes, did it drop on you? Is that how you found the slime too? Do you remember these in the
Oh,
depths? Because I was just the way you talked about the turtle, it just kind of reminded me of like how I was saying this is probably not a unique thing that happened to me in Dark Souls at all because it's set up so clearly for it to happen, but it's just a product of the mechanics kind of thing that it happened the way it did, and I really liked it. But
I don't remember, to be completely
okay,
honest with you.
just the way it worked, it was just like as soon as I got into this one section of the sewers, there's like a dead body there with a glowing, like it has an item. So you're just kind of
Okay.
like, oh, cool, I'm gonna grab that. And then I went over to get it, and a slime dropped right on my head and took like half my health and just kind of slimed over me in this awful way. I was just like,
Gross.
ah! And that was the first time I'd ever seen that happen. So it's just like this great introduction to a new type of enemy where I'll never forget that ever and
Yeah.
never want that to happen again. So I'm super wary
It's
around
really
them now.
gross.
Yeah. But sorry, I know it's super barely related to Turt Reynolds, and I apologize.
No, it's fine.
But
It works.
interactive experiences, there's avenues that can't be taken.
I have
Or-
a few
or
more things I could
copy.
ask you about that maybe people would be interested in your opinion on, just
Okay.
as a small catch up.
Man, I'll try to be concise, but I'm not good at doing that. So,
What about
okay.
the new Star Wars?
I generally liked it. I like that Chewbacca has something really big to do
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, you're right.
Like,
It's
he
so
was,
good.
He was my favorite. Like, oh man, Chewie finally has drama. This is great.
Mhm.
They're giving him something to care about. That was probably my favorite component of that movie.
Okay.
We saw it twice in the theater. I picked up the Blu-ray. I'm generally positive about it.
It's on Netflix right now too.
Yep, that's true. I think I was just hoping for more special features than there were. Like I misread something. Like I was like, oh man, the whole table read is on here. That's so great. It's like a 4-minute featurette about the table read. Like it's not just Mark Hamill narrating the movie in a weird podcast type setting. It's not what I wanted, but whatever. Just justifying why I decided to purchase it.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, did you enjoy it generally or?
Yeah,
Like
I did.
Okay.
Because, I liked episode 4, and that was that movie again, with new characters to care about for a new generation.
Yeah, I think my favorite like eye roll, but I still loved rolling my eyes was
Uh-huh.
when they show the new base next to the Death Star, and it's just way bigger, and that's that. Enough said, kind of thing. In the little like briefing room, I just thought that was really funny. It's just like a 10-year-old's concept of like it's worse because it's bigger, and just drew a bigger circle next to the circle. It's like this circle can blow up like 4 planets at the same time, so watch out. And they never make it clear what planets those were or whatever, but you just know it's bad. And Oscar Isaac needs to fly in there and blow it up. And yeah, I don't know.
True.
I don't know what to like. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. It's Star Wars. There's infinite things to delve into there, but whatever. It was good.
For sure. Did we ever talk about Fury Road on the podcast?
Oh,
When would that have come out last year? Was
no,
that
it
early?
couldn't have, because if it was March 2015, yeah, it came out like 2 months later.
Right.
So
And even the time that you guessed it with like Hank or whatever and me,
it just wouldn't have
that
come
was
up.
April.
Oh, it still wasn't out.
No.
All right. Yeah. I really I went for that movie. I liked it quite a bit.
Cool.
I don't know which thing to share. For some reason, the thing that's coming to mind is like I turned it on an airplane with no headphones, and it still made sense.
Yeah.
Like that's how pure the storytelling is in that movie. It's
The
just like, man,
storytelling
this
in that
scene's just
movie
great.
is very visual.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
just like, I'm still following. This is really, really good at its job.
Yep.
So, George Miller did a good job.
How would you feel if I put you on the spot for a second?
Go ahead. I feel like that's the theme of the show. So,
And always has been, really.
yeah. How do you feel about this? It's like, okay.
Like, even when we did Google Docs, I would just come up with something, and you'd be like,
That's not what I was talking about with Korea at all, but okay. StarCraft or something.
Well, I mean, jokes, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was all in jest. Give me your top few. We could say 3, 5, like whatever you want to give, even just one, of movies and games of last year. Like, what is some stuff that just off the top of your head, you were like, yeah, this is like one of the best things this year?
Of last year?
Yeah. Well, like, since we've done this podcast, basically, because you weren't on any end of the year stuff for like Top Down or for us or anything. So
I guess so, yeah. Man, for 2015, I'm trying to think what even.
I can like look something up if like just say
Like
stuff that you
there's some
think.
high
even.
profile stuff. Like there's some high profile stuff in the pop culture like out there that I haven't seen Deadpool. I just haven't seen it.
Okay.
I don't know really what that guy's all about. I
If
understand.
if you care at all about my opinion, I thought it was okay.
Okay. Um. Okay. I kind of like not knowing much at this point because it somehow worked out to where I had like a weird dream about Deadpool with no knowledge of Deadpool, and I
Okay.
enjoyed that experience. But
What was the
whatever.
dream like? I'll tell you if you're close.
No, I know I'm not because I told Brittany about it. He had a fighter jet and he was flying around blowing up stuff, and I
I
don't.
mean, that is
Yeah.
totally something he would probably do, but I don't think anybody would be dumb enough to give Deadpool a fighter jet. So,
Okay. Yeah. Man, I'm trying to just think the best picture choice last year was Spotlight, and I thought that movie was okay. I
okay.
watched it and
Yeah.
generally was like, okay, yeah, it's a solid movie. I don't know that I felt really super strongly about a lot of 2015 stuff. Like Star
Okay.
Wars came out, it was good. I didn't see a lot of the big award stuff. Like I didn't see Room or whatever, like the depressing
You
Brie
know,
Larson
weirdly enough,
movie.
I did see Room.
Was it worth experiencing? Like,
I didn't really like it,
all right.
honestly. Like, I know why people were talking about it because it was like a depressing thing with like pretty good acting and like more like character, like
Hmm.
characterizing these like people,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
was good in that. But that's not what I care about. Like, I didn't care about the people myself, so I was
Okay.
like, meh, whatever. It was okay though.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think like what has
What about
been.
Spectre? You're a big James Bond guy.
That's the thing. This is probably the longest I've gone without having seen all of the James Bond movies that are, because I haven't seen it
Okay.
yet.
Me neither.
Because everybody was super like, yeah, it's just not very good. And that's no kind of, yay, let's spend 2.5 hours doing that.
Right.
So I just never got around to actually checking that out.
What about The
Uh,
Revenant?
I didn't watch it. I haven't seen
Holy
it.
shit.
I know. I don't know. I was kind of negatively charged for that movie too. Like a friend of mine was really mad about it and
Okay.
ERV 2 and I don't know. Like I didn't like Birdman very much. So
Right.
I never felt super compelled to go see Leonardo get kicked around by a bear or whatever happens.
I know Hank doesn't like that movie, so I was kind of interested in your opinion of it.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't been doing my homework, I guess.
No, that's fine.
I kind of like watched Guardians again and liked it
Yeah.
quite a bit
Yeah.
more, maybe. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know if that was kind of like a train of just kind of getting more okay with the Marvel movie stuff, but I'm mostly caught up on those, I think. I'm trying to
Okay.
think what I've missed there. Like, I thought Ant-Man was kind of fun.
I
Civil
mean, you
War
missed
was
Deadpool.
okay. I miss Deadpool, but that's kind of the weird Fox like X-Men offshoot business. So I
Yep.
also haven't seen X-Men Apocalypse. Uh, yeah, and I mean we kind of were sort of going around it at the beginning of the show, but I've been avoiding like a lot of the DC stuff too because it
Uh-huh.
just seems to be like I don't know what it is. Like I definitely grew up with Batman as a character and all this kind of stuff, but something about it just seems to be like way too nakedly like a team of executives at Warner Brothers are trying to figure out how to make all the money and they're just trying over and over again with like tweaking the movies and post production and being like, how do we get the people to like it? Let's put more of this in.
Yeah.
All right, they didn't like it. Let's reshoot it and put Margot Robbie, like she's here we go. We'll
Yo, they
try
might
this
get the
again.
formula that way, though.
Maybe, but critics are mad about it and not liking it, and I know that doesn't necessarily mean everything, but I don't know. I that movie just doesn't look fun to me. David Ayer, like I didn't like Fury very much. I tried watching Sabotage, which is the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. It's on Netflix right now. Like I don't know. Not that that necessarily negates having Will Smith there and all the stuff they're doing there, but I don't know. Nothing about that really made me excited. Speaking about Batman, though, I played Arkham. What was the one? The
Night.
last one? Night. Yeah,
Okay.
that was a game I remember I played through that year and generally enjoyed, except kind of just got real burnt down by all the Riddler stuff and ended up just watching what happens on YouTube.
Yeah,
Finally did
it's
that.
not a big enough thing for me to care.
Yeah, just like I am kind of done. I don't want to spend a dozen hours having not fun, so I guess I'll just give up on this last few percent and see what happens. I guess I felt some of the final tank battle stuff got really annoying too.
Yep, I hated
Like,
that.
yeah,
It's
I
just a
don't know.
war of attrition at that point. Like that part is so long. I know which part you're talking about. It's during
There's
the
like
siege.
multiple giant tanks
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
need to deal with, and it's just like,
It's the siege on Gotham City Police Department.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's
brutal
terrible. I
stuff.
hate it.
I think at that around that point, like I'd been playing on normal difficulty the whole game. I was just like, all right, I don't care anymore. Just like I'd probably lose a PlayStation trophy or something. I'm just gonna change this to easy mode and let's finish this up. So I guess that game kind of wore me down. But man, I'm trying to think like what has really been high like on my radar stuff. Like it's unfortunately not new stuff. I'm kind of
Right.
having to think of newer stuff. I've been like really into Akira Kurosawa's life. I've been
Okay.
reading a biography he wrote and really enjoying it. I've been kind of meeting it out one anecdote a day just to make it last. And that will probably culminate in me finally watching Seven Samurai, which I purchased on Blu-ray,
Yo,
which is kind
movie's
of
pretty good.
I've heard that it's like
Yeah.
his masterpiece and everything.
I
I've
mean,
kind of
there's been a bunch of movies that took his direct formula for that movie and did their own thing with it. So,
yeah, there's a new one coming out. It's the new Magnificent Seven movie is coming out, and that's directly that story,
yep.
but
Yep.
with Chris Pratt and stuff now. So that's been going on. I watched Poltergeist 3 finally
Great.
and
Okay.
didn't hate it as much as I thought I would because
Okay.
everyone kind of doesn't have great things to say about it. But yeah, I don't know. Mirrors are scary, and
Yeah.
it just does everything it thinks is scary is involves a mirror in that movie, and maybe it stops working at some point. But there's some fun tricks, I guess. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but it wasn't a total train wreck the way I thought it would be.
Sure.
Man, yeah, sorry, putting me on the spot. Video games.
What about Metal Gear Solid 5? Did you do any of that?
I did do some of that,
Okay.
but I didn't finish that game.
Okay.
I understand it's quite a long game,
It is.
but even some like just listening to people talk around specific spoilers and stuff, Game of the Year time that year, I was like, oh, I don't even think I've come to like early major developments in that game. Like,
Did you meet
yeah,
up with Quiet?
no. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you are way early.
really early. I know.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the dog on my team or anything. Like it's
Okay.
yeah. It's
Okay, what
pretty-
did you think about it mechanically, though? Because mechanically, it's kind of like the best one, but as a Metal Gear Solid game story-wise, I think it lacks everything that I like about that series.
I mean, I enjoyed that prologue a lot because it's very focused and narrative and all
Yeah,
that.
that
Like,
doesn't
it's
happen again for 60 hours.
awesome. So
So,
once it kind of dumped me into like an open world and there's just towns and quests and stuff, I was just kind of like, I get this is kind of like, well, there's a horse here, so I'm kind of getting like Red Dead
sure.
type vibes, and I kind of want to do a bunch of these side missions because I don't mind unlocking new equipment for my base and doing this kind of stuff, but I don't
Yeah.
know. It was like 8 or 10 hours of that, and I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know. I
Yep.
played Metal Gear for 10 hours. I guess I'm good for now.
Sure.
Hopefully, if they shut down all the servers and stuff, that doesn't invalidate that game. I don't really know
Yeah.
how much of that is important to all of that stuff, but I mean, it was kind of surrounded by a weird mixed narrative when I got it because it was like all the stuff with Konami and just them not wanting to do big games anymore, and Kojima's kind of unceremonious being kicked out,
Yeah, yeah.
and people going from like this is one of the greatest video games I've ever played to like being really upset with it because something had happened to the online stuff or something, like the economy and all this weird stuff. I was just like, dude, is this the greatest game or terrible? Like I don't know. So I just kind of was like, yeah, it's very mechanically sound, and I mean, I don't think I ever got over the voice thing. Like it was just like,
Yeah, me neither.
this ain't Hater, this ain't Metal Gear.
But I really, really like that he doesn't talk a lot.
I
Well,
guess so.
for the most part, he does talk in some stuff, and every time it's just like, wait, why is this like? I can't remember the name of a character, so why is Kiefer Sutherland talking to me? I was gonna
Hmm.
make a joke. I can't remember shit Kiefer Sutherland's been in. I was trying to remember his name in Lost Boys because that would have been a great pull,
Is it
but
Jack Bauer? Is his
Jack
comic book
Bauer is too
character?
easy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was trying to go for something really dumb, like his character in Cell Phone or whatever the hell it was. Phone Booth, rather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sniper guy or whatever. Like
Yeah.
what's his? Or Stand By Me or something. Bully
Give me
dude.
your best impression of Kiefer Sutherland.
I really can't because I don't have any distinct things that about Kiefer Sutherland.
This
Like
this really is like an old episode. That's like the exact response.
no, it's like I don't have like yeah. It's like is he unique? Like he's not Christopher Walken or something. I don't have a Christopher
We've
Walken. Just so you
we've
say.
gone through this multiple times.
Okay.
The only thing you need to do to make an impression is say that you're that person. So like here's my Kiefer Sutherland
I'm Kiefer
impression.
Sutherland. Yeah.
I'm Kiefer Sutherland. Just do
No,
any
no
voice.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he even say that? Does he say iconic snake lines, but it's Kiefer Sutherland now?
Kept you waiting, huh?
I guess so. Okay.
Like that, I think that's it.
Yeah.
He's so
Yeah, I know. I
unmemorable.
don't know. That game just I know it exists. I'm glad I have it on disc and everything. I don't know. It
Right.
hasn't had its season for me yet. I kind of just play things on my own timetable now.
Sure.
So it's just like, well, it's 4 years after the PC port. Let's play Dark Souls. Like it just doesn't matter when it came out. So I'll eventually get around to that. I hope. I hope it's
Sure.
still viable when I do. But hmm.
What about Fallout? Fallout 4 came out. Were you a Fallout guy? I can't remember.
I like New Vegas a lot, but
Yeah.
everything I was hearing about 4 was really not super inspiring. So no, I haven't checked it out.
Okay.
It was like the hope was like, oh, it's it's gonna be Skyrim but Fallout, and it's just like, oh, apparently it's got a lot of weird building mechanics and it's actually really crashy and not great. So I just kind of shied away from it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what am I missing? Like, what are the highlights from the past year and a half that I should have played or watched from your estimation?
Okay. Like for stuff that maybe people were talking a lot about that you missed,
Okay.
the most recent one is Overwatch.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's definitely the most recent, like, everybody's talking about a thing.
Sensation.
I mean,
Okay.
no. The most recent sensation is Pokemon Go, just straight up.
Right. Yeah.
But, like, in terms of just, like, actual video games or whatever that you would sit down and play, probably that. I don't know how much you care about Tomb Raider, but Rise of the Tomb Raider came out.
For Xbox One, though, right?
And PC. Yep.
Okay. I did hear that was of quality. I guess maybe
It's
I'm
good.
sort of waiting for the PS4 version, or just I don't know. Like I'm not sure if its graphical curve is beyond our PC at this point.
Gotcha.
But
The Witcher 3 was really big for a lot of people.
I know. I went to a friend's house who had it and was way into it and kind of just observed it and just was
Yeah.
like, I don't think I'd like this game. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't, yeah.
Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was really big and really dumb, but pretty fun. It was a pretty fun one. What about Mario Maker? You like Mario games?
Yeah, I picked that up pretty close to when it came out, and I just didn't get pulled into the making part of it, despite it being very like inviting and well put together and stuff. I just don't get ideas that are like good for that. Like it's like,
Right.
oh, I got a crafty idea for a platformer level. It's just kind of no, not really. The one thing I really like last got into was trying to beat some really stupid stages Jeff Gerstmann made.
Okay. Yeah.
And generally succeeding, but yeah, like I beat some wonky, really difficult ones that just had stupid jumps in them and stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. So I like that game. I hope it's kind of just infinite Mario. So if I ever want to jump in and play some Mario platforming, I have that now.
Right.
So yeah, I liked it, but
Okay.
it didn't totally take over my life.
You and I talked a little bit about Soma.
Yeah, I
It's
really
really too
liked Soma.
bad that we didn't do a podcast. Yo, nobody I know has played it, and they just kind of dismissed it when I talked about it on the end of the year top-down stuff, and when I was talking about it and playing it. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's one of the games we would have had a 5-hour discussion about, I think, at that time.
Yeah, it's weird how little splash it seemed to make. I vastly prefer it to Amnesia because
Oh, yeah.
it's worth playing. I don't know, like it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, it doesn't scare you away from playing it. It actually has like a compelling story that coaxes you through occasional scary moments,
Right.
or just the general kind of oppressive ocean stuff that I know you were kind of talking about, just getting too stressed out.
It's the hurdle for me. I couldn't pass it, so I watched the end. Luckily, I was only about half an hour away from the end, though.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I found that just like a super riveting like ride, like just this race to the bottom of the ocean, and just like some cool cyberpunky kind of ideas that probably got me into reading a couple books and stuff too. Like I read some William Gibson and Neil
okay.
Stevenson because of that game, probably. So yeah, that did leave an impression. I really thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Um, just yeah, I don't know, something about just the switching consciousnesses and like digitization of the human mind and all this stuff, but also just how effective some of the setting and you're at the bottom of the ocean stuff. Just yeah, it. I don't know what it was, but it was like it's like this is the kind of like experience people probably felt they had when they were saying Gravity was a good movie or something. Like where it's just like
Oh,
a pulse pounding like experience. I didn't have that when I watched that movie, but I had it when I played this game. I don't know why. I just was like,
right.
this is like what I imagined that was doing to people who were capable of experiencing things vicariously through Sandra Bullock, and I am
Sure.
not. So I had to be that guy, and then
Right.
I could
Right.
have a kind of like stressful experience where it's like, oh no, this is all going bad, but at the bottom of the ocean instead of in space. But you know, air is a concern, and you're in a suit and all this kind of stuff. But I guess not because you're a robot. I don't know,
Right.
whatever.
There is one big thing that's recent that I want to talk to you about because I'm
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
interested in. We'll leave that
Mhm.
for now, though.
Okay.
Um, did you care about The Witness at all?
I did initially. Like I got on board like the week I was kind of anticipating it. It's like, well, the guy who made Braid has got a new game coming out, and I mean that's gonna be something. So I bought it right away,
Right.
and it was just kind of there was a moment where the wind just, like the air just left the balloon for me. It was just like, oh, there's just more puzzles in here.
The balloon,
Yeah, it's just like all that this game has
like
is more and
Titanfall.
more puzzles. So I just don't really. I think I'm okay. I hit my puzzle quota.
Okay.
Like it was weird. It was like when it had like this straightforward objective of like lighting up the different areas and opening the mountain. I was like, oh man, I gotta open that mountain. And then I opened the mountain and there were puzzles in it, and I stopped playing. Like just dropped it completely. It was just curiosity satiated. I had I keep alluding to it, like the same friend who played Witcher 3 played the last puzzle of The Witness so I could see it.
Right.
And it's pretty crazy, I guess. Did you complete that or
I
did you
didn't
get
play
into
it at
that?
all. I didn't bother
Okay.
buying it.
I mean, I guess it's better than like Myst and stuff, and there's
Uh huh.
there's weird nuances to it that are kind of cool, but it's like, hey, it's like 1,000 puzzles, and I only wanted to do half that many puzzles.
Like I wanted to do 100, maybe.
Yeah, that's rough figures. Obviously, there's firm numbers out there, but like some of the wonky like secret videos that are in that game, I thought were cool. There's just like really like Jonathan Blow just thinks you should see this. He just thinks this is a cool bit of philosophy. And yeah, if you want to just sit here and watch this, it's like a 15-minute interview or an hour lecture or whatever. Like there's weird stuff in that game. So it seems like a very personally crafted game. But yeah, I wasn't pulled all the way through that one. And it's got this thing though where that makes me feel kind of stupid because I wasn't able to beat the puzzles. I got worn out by the puzzles.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I truly got fatigued by the puzzles, and it's been so long now since I was playing it that I feel I'd have to relearn the early things again or something. Like it just, I don't know. It's like I felt I had to keep that momentum going, or else I'd never finish that game. And now I'm just probably never gonna truly finish that game, which is kind of unfortunate. But
Okay.
it was kind of neat. Yeah, what are the big things this year? Like game one, like Dark Souls 3 is the thing people are saying very
Well, I
positive
mean,
things about,
like,
but that's 2 games away from where I'm at. So
I don't know if you noticed, I'm going through them with
okay,
you.
yeah. No, I know you're right. This is all this year though. Like,
Yeah, this
what
is this
was,
year.
okay, sorry.
What about XCOM 2? Any interest at all, even?
No, not really.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. It's more XCOM, if you like that. That was it, basically.
Like I tinkered with it on PS Plus, like the first one,
Yeah,
and it was like, okay, yeah, it's a full tilt strategy thing. I don't usually do those, so
right.
you know.
What about, I didn't play it myself.
Yeah.
What about Uncharted 4?
I am probably 3/4 through Uncharted 4, but that has been true for a while. It's a bit weird with that game. What happened? My friend Ryan, who doesn't have a PlayStation, has been kind of like back when I played Uncharted 2,
Yeah.
he saw me playing that. I was like, man, this is great. This is awesome. So when 4 came out, he's like, man, like, can I come over and like watch you play it? So that has been happening, but I kind of only want to play it when he visits. So I
Okay.
just haven't finished it yet. But I feel okay not making that experience last because apparently it's the last one Naughty Dog's going to do with Nathan Drake and all this stuff. So
Yep.
I don't really mind not rushing through it. So I mean, it's so simple mechanically, you can just pick it up again anyway. So I still have yet to see the final moments of that, but I don't know. It's, big splashy, like, stuff. There's some fun stuff with the Jeep.
Yeah, okay.
The brothers there, mocap.
For the most part, you're liking it, though? What you've seen so
Generally,
far?
yeah.
Yep.
It hasn't really been like, whoa, this is next level video game stuff. It's like, no, it's Naughty Dog third person action. It's pretty good. But
What about that new Doom?
I fully intend to play that game. I played the demo that they released around E3 time
Yep.
and was like, yep, okay, I'm on board with this. I just haven't gone and picked it up.
Okay.
Have you played
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
Seems to be the
It's
word on the
really,
street.
really good.
Okay.
Yep.
I really like the notion that it's like, oh, dude, yeah, no, single player. Like, it's a big first person single player campaign. It's like,
Yep.
okay, great.
The
That sounds
multiplayer
great.
is there, but it is totally the side project of another group of people.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I intend to look at that now. I read
We've
a
talked.
book in software.
We've talked
Masters
at
of Doom. It's pretty cool.
we've talked at
Yeah.
length before
Mhm.
about Far Cry. Primal came out this year.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about Far Cry Primal. What do you think?
That is the only one of like the recent wave of Far Cry games that I decided to check out and got way into. So
Yeah. Okay.
I
That's why I brought it up, listeners.
know.
I knew this. So.
It's not like I feel like I was pretty jaded against 3 because it was the one everyone was like, oh my god, Far Cry's so great. It's like, yeah, I know. We've been saying that since 2 came out. Yeah, crazy people have been saying that. You have your weird time over there.
2's
We're
really
gonna go-
good, by the way, for
It-
anybody listening.
2 is good, but it's like uncompromising in some ways that 3 is a lot friendlier about.
It's actually
But-
just dated now too. Like it just doesn't play as well.
I
as
bet
any
it.
of
I
the
bet
new
it
ones.
won't do what I. Yeah, like I played it a bit late when I really got into it. It was probably 2010 or something.
Yeah.
When I fully like decided to finish that game, so I don't know how fun it is now.
Right.
But I found it really cool when I got into it. 3 I found kind of irritating just because I didn't like the character that you were,
Yeah.
and it was just like something about that just never sat right with me at all. I was just like, I just hate being this dude. I just don't want to be this dude. This island doesn't really make sense. Like, why are there vending machines? Like, I can't
Right,
carry
yeah,
more
yeah.
stuff until I get a better wallet or whatever. Like, it just, the way it was set up just made me mad. So I never really wanted to play it. And I heard 4 was basically that again, but in the mountains.
Yep.
So I just wasn't interested
Well,
in
I
that.
mean, it made it better because elephants.
Yeah, but mammoths are like elephants, but they're bigger. I don't know. When they were just like, yo, this next one, you're a caveman. I was like, sweet, that's awesome. I've always wanted to be a caveman.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm with you. That's what got me to buy it.
yeah, I was just like 100% on board. I know people were like, oh, it's kind of like 4. It's like, well, that's great because I didn't play 4. So I get to
Right.
experience 4 now. Apparently the map is basically the same,
Yep.
but I never experienced that map, so it didn't matter. I ran out of that game to play. I got every single trophy in the game, and
Wow.
it was just like, all right, well, there's no more Far Cry Primal to play, so I guess I'm done playing it.
I'm
During
impressed.
during the final like hours of that game, I was just listening to many top-down perspectives actually. So I'm one of the TD peeps now, and I love that
God,
phrase.
God damn it.
That's the one I vote for too. It's the best
Yeah.
one.
I mean,
Uh,
as far as me and John are concerned, that's the one.
yeah,
So,
that's the one. So I caught up on that period of time.
okay.
And yeah, I don't know. I ran into a weird glitch. I guess it's not really worth. Well, I still want to elaborate because it was kind of a like throwback to old school achievement hunting spheres.
Uh-huh.
After you beat the story of that game, a thing can happen where you stop leveling up,
Okay.
and it did. So it's just like, oh shit, because the last trophy I had was unlocking all of the skill points, like all the skills on the tree, like every
Right.
single one.
So you
And to
thought you
get
fucked
those,
up.
I was like, oh no, I need more skill points.
Yeah.
But I'm not leveling anymore. What do I do? Fortunately, I'd ignored like a type of side quest the entire game that rewards you with skill points. So I was just able to kind of hunt around the map and do these kind of tedious like side things where you're rescuing captives and doing weird kind of, fetch questy type stuff. But they got you skill points, so I was at least able to finally get that achievement or trophy rather. And has there been like substantial DLC for that game? That game didn't seem to me like it did exceedingly well for
I
people.
don't actually know, honestly.
Okay. Because maybe there's more stuff now, but the
You bought the
launching
console
product,
version, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I bought it on Uplay, and I haven't loaded up Uplay for a while because of issues with Russians hacking my account and not wanting. Anyway,
Oh, no.
it's a long story.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to kind of channel that energy into more Far Cry stuff because I was like, well, I mean, this is the third or fourth game with this formula, so I did play a bit of Blood Dragon on PS3 and saw, wow, yeah, this is the same formula, but they're like crazy glowing cyber dinosaurs and all right, but I don't know, it's not great on PS3. It doesn't run amazingly, and I'd done that a lot. So I didn't really finish that game, but I don't know. And then I tried loading up 3 via Uplay, but it was running like garbage on my computer, and I don't know why, because that's a few years old at this point. But yeah, I guess I tried to channel this newfound positive Far Cry 3 era games enthusiasm into the ones I decried when they came out. But I don't know. I just want to be a caveman, so.
Yeah.
It was finally crafting clubs and stuff. I did find it weird that like the way the game works, you kind of just level past using some clubs really quickly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's just
for
like,
sure.
oh man, there was this totally unique club design that they had, and I'll never see it because I leveled 2 clubs past that. So
Unless you want to like throw that type of club or something.
or just to stick with one for a while, just for your own
I guess.
like
Yeah.
admiring it or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, Far Cry. That was a big game this year for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Let's just go right to the one that's kind of recent, and I want to get your opinion on.
mhm.
You played a lot of Limbo.
I did, yeah. Actually, yeah.
How did
Like,
you
there's-
feel about Inside?
Positively, but
Okay.
I didn't have the same like compulsion. Like with Limbo, I kind of got way into playing it like I'm gonna do a no deaths run or whatever, and like play it again and again.
Yeah.
I've only gone through Inside one time.
Me too.
It was kind of just it was a game where it's like I've heard this isn't very long. Like so Brittany and I just kind of set aside a night and we're just gonna go through Inside. Everyone's talking about it. Let's see what's going on. And we had a pretty good time.
Yeah.
There's the thing, and it was a fun thing. It's akin to things I enjoy in other media. What
Sure.
happened, so I enjoyed it. I guess there's a cooler ending, and I haven't watched it. I know that's the way to see it without playing it again, but maybe I'll feel compelled to play it again someday
Okay.
and look for
Sure.
those secrets and whatever. So I don't really know what happened there, but I guess
Pretty
it's one
positive
of
though.
those things where yeah. That's a game though where it's like, yeah, there is a thing that you could talk about that would kind of ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it. So just I guess check it out. I guess that's a game with a lot of the value proposition debate would
Yep.
come up,
It
right?
is.
But I don't know, yeah. Like if 2-3 hours, like I don't know. I felt okay about it. It was just like I'm told it's a finely crafted 3 hours, and I generally felt that way. So
Yep.
I
I
didn't
agree.
I didn't feel robbed or anything. Um, yeah.
Cool. I think that kind of does it for where we are now for like big stuff.
Hmm.
There's
I
like
mean,
other
I
big stuff coming, but
I mean, on my own little like what I do.
yeah, yeah,
There's this author named Stephen King, and he
yeah.
just won't stop writing. He just writes all the time, and he's written so many books
That he
over the
ran out of
last.
ideas.
No, he kind of just twists the old ones a bit. You know, he
Okay.
finds he finds he manages to squeeze some blood out of that rock.
Are they all still
Still,
set in Maine?
most of them are, or at least the main characters are from Maine,
The main
and they're
characters?
they're they're not happy. Yeah, they're not happy that they're in Boston or whatever. The one I finished most recently was Cell, which
Okay.
is basically zombies, but he kind of has fun with zombie stuff.
Uh-huh.
Uh, kind of what I enjoy doing because almost everything he does becomes a movie or a TV show or something. So you get to have this little experience where you can read the thing and then see how they adapted it to the screen. And I like both books and movies, so I just kind of like doing that. So I'm gonna probably watch that purportedly terrible John Cusack movie relatively soon.
Okay.
Um, so I read this book so I could do that with the proper like,
Ah, I see.
oh, okay, they kept that part. Oh, they screwed this up. Like whatever, I get to do that.
Right.
So I enjoy doing that. He had a trilogy of like detective books that gradually became more absurd. Like the third one is like he's going up against a serial killer who now has psychic powers,
I
and
mean,
it
yeah, that makes
was
sense.
it's so. But the way it starts, it's like the beginning of the trilogy is like no, it's just hard-boiled cops, mysteries, and then like as the second book like starts to kind of foreshadow, it's like, oh man, it's gonna have psychic powers. This is so stupid, but this is great. So yeah, End of Watch came out this year, and I enjoyed reading that too. Um, and short stories of his, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. There's a show that was on TNT, I think. So I have those, and as I read stories that have been adapted into episodes, I watch the episode. So yeah, Stephen King all the time. He's got a lot of media to go through. So yeah, I was kind of looking up this show Haven that
Okay.
apparently was 5 seasons long and ended last year and has lots of main area stuff and like Pennywise kind of illusions and stuff like this. And they're making that into a movie again. I read it. Also,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've
Like
read like
recently or before?
uh I mean, it's all been within the last like 2 years. I've
Okay.
gone through like maybe 30 of his books or something. So yeah,
Wow.
there's a lot of that guy's stuff out there. I don't know what it is. It's like you start to see kind of patterns and things as you go through a lot of them, but he still just kind of has this knack for story building. Like he just kind of knows how to get your curiosity. At least with me in my case,
Hmm.
I'm just like, yeah, all right, I'll see this through, see what's going on with this, and generally enjoying it. So I don't know. Have you read some of his business or?
Yeah, I did a lot more when I was younger, actually. I was pretty, like, I think the last book that came out when I kind of stopped reading was Desperation.
Okay,
So
I,
that was
yeah,
a while back now.
that's 95, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was growing up, I was super into like horror books, I guess.
Hmm.
I think the like The reason being that my mom, when I was younger, kind of had a rule where like I wasn't allowed to watch the movie until I at least read the book, if it was something like graphic or gross.
Oh, okay.
So like that's the way, like when I was really young, getting to see stuff like I Know What You Did Last Summer, and like reading all of the like Lois Duncan books because of that. Like all of the Stephen King stuff that I could at the time, some of the Clive Barker stuff, even though I know she didn't like me reading that shit because it's kind of fucked up.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, so there was a time, but it hasn't been in the last, you know, at least 15 years.
Yeah. Hmm. I don't know why I'm kind of just like, I just want to see it all through, I guess. I don't know. It's just like, might as well go through all of it.
It's
Like,
the achievement hunter part of you.
something. And now that I'm kind of like maybe past the 50% mark, it's just like, well, you know. So I'm kind of like working my way up to like eventually just getting all of Dark Tower and then go through all of Dark Tower at once. I haven't done any of that yet. So I'm just kind of reading around it.
Mhm.
I feel like I'm sort of doing that with Kurosawa too. Like I know Seven Samurai is the one, but I've watched like a bunch of ones around it. So I've seen like all the other movies, but not that one. Like I'm just kind of saving that keystone for last. I don't know why, but yeah, it's just a thing I enjoy doing. Um, hmm. Was
Yeah,
it more 2015 stuff? I feel
like
like we kind of,
really, really big stuff.
yeah.
I can quickly look up a list instead of going off the top of my head, maybe. That would
Like
help.
I know Undertale is 2015.
Yep,
Mad Max.
yep.
For like Star Wars, which I guess I was kind of hoping would dethrone James Cameron, but it couldn't.
I actually have a
Uh,
question for you for recent stuff.
mhm.
Did you watch Stranger Things?
Yep,
What did you
we ended
think?
up. Um, I liked it. I guess I'll just say that I ended up liking it. But when I first started watching it, I was just like, man, this show just feels like it's just a focus group made this show for nerds or something. Like it's so exactly calculated to appeal to my interests. Like it's like, hey, do you like Stephen King? Do you like Steven Spielberg? Do you like Cronenberg maybe? Like it's just kind of like who did this? Like it felt really weird. Like I
Well, that's
felt
probably like the cynical way to look at it. I just
I
kind
don't
of saw
know,
it as like the people who made it just like really like
really
that
like that stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
I know, but like I guess it's just when I started watching it, it was like maybe apprehension because of Super 8 or something. Like this could go wrong, but not that Super 8's bad, but it's
I
very
like
similar.
Super 8.
It's just hey, there's kids, they find something crazy that's going on, and they have to figure it out and whatever.
Uh,
But I feel like it just managed to do it more distinctly somehow. Like it wasn't all of the exact same beats from any one of those things. It was kind of managed to make its own kind of unique little mix. And I don't know that unique is the word, but it didn't feel like I've heard this exact one before. Whereas Super
right.
8 was kind of a little more like, wow, all right, like this is very clearly from like, hey, Close Encounters, but maybe with
Yeah, yeah,
like a
yeah.
little ET and then a dash of like the darker stuff, like maybe a little Cronenberg because the monster isn't good kind of thing. What if ET was a jerk? I don't know.
You know what
We're
got
just
me is
yeah.
that when I read like a thing after where the creator was talking about it a little bit with like a site or something. And
Hmm.
they said like, so what like were some of the like things that like you liked that you threw in here sort of thing? Like what were some of the inspirations? And the ones that you all mentioned, obviously, one
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't think about that I didn't actually notice until I thought about it again was he said, "Oh, on Silent Hill, like he loves the Silent Hill stuff," and I was like, "He's the Upside
Oh
Down
yeah, no,
world
dude,
is literally
totally.
Silent Hill."
No, as I was like, this is probably the best Silent Hill
Yeah,
like movie basically that's ever happened. Like,
yeah, I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
even think about it, but
Okay.
yeah, no, like it's really subtle
Like
and good.
the way the creature looks and stuff too, it just kind of fit in with some of that stuff. I don't
Sure.
know, or at least Shattered Memories. Oh, now I'm just thinking of Until Dawn was a thing that happened too.
Yeah, we should. That movie or that game was amazing.
I've only gone through it one time and it didn't go super well, but I kind of just like that I have like a dynamic horror movie that I can throw in
Yeah,
if I want to like do that again. So
I thought it was
pretty.
really cool.
Oh, now I'm trying to think of like other adventure game type stuff. Like there was the Day of the Tentacle remaster, which was a big day for us. For me, like I was just like, oh, I can
Yeah,
show
yeah.
Brittany my favorite game, like when I was in grade two,
How did you
and
think it held up?
good. But if you have played all the puzzles, they just kind of resurfaced in my head, so we were able to go through that game in like a day.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't really a big deal. But I still really like it. I just really liked hanging out in that house. I like that
Yep.
the Maniac Mansion like Easter egg is back because that was kind of unplayable for a while in the kind of modern PCs. You couldn't launch an emulator in the game,
Right.
but now you can. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I still kind of just like that time travel logic kind of stuff. It's still pretty
Sure.
charming to me. There's just some fun gags. I don't know. It's
Uh,
pretty simple, but
I'm trying to
yeah.
think of other big stuff. What about Star Wars Battlefront? That was big for a few different reasons when that came out.
I actually got into it. Like
Okay.
I kind of it was a while after it came out because the thing that everyone seemed to say was just like, well, it's good, but it's not like $80 good. It's just
Mm.
there's not enough of it
Or
there.
like 120, depending which version you got or whatever.
Yeah, or if
Yeah.
you wanted to sign on for all DLC and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I kind of probably just rode the Star Wars wave into that game when it was like half off at like $40.
Right.
So it was just kind of like, yep, all the stuff is here. My friend Ryan actually played some of the co-op stuff with me. Like there's not a lot of great offline stuff, but what there was, we kind of tried to squeeze as much fun out of as we could. I did get the first DLC pack, like the Tatooine hut related stuff. I don't know if the next one's even out yet. And at this point, I think my interest has kind of been satiated or whatever. I'm okay. But I guess I just hadn't played like a big kind of next gen first person shooter in quite a while. So it was just kind of well, this one looks and sounds like Star Wars, so I'm okay with that. So I probably totally contributed to the 13 million. I did the 13 million sales or whatever, and
Yeah, yeah.
people kind of got mad about that game, though, right? Like
Yeah.
EA just kind of
Yep.
screwed it
They
up.
did.
I have no attachment to the original two Battlefront games, so this was just like, oh, it's a dice shooter. Okay, well, that's great. Like the legacy of that pandemic stuff, I don't know about that stuff really. So I
Oh, I know what I want to ask you about, and I'm sorry for
okay,
interrupting you.
okay.
Actually, there's two things I want to ask you about.
Oh no,
I don't know if we talked about Hotline Miami 2.
I don't think so.
Okay. Thoughts on that?
Listening to top down stuff, I remember there was like here was Nathan's predictions from last year, and it's like Hotline Miami 2 comes out and it's great.
Yeah.
I didn't end up really feeling it was that great.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
did play through it all.
Me too.
I dug some of the music in there, but
Yep.
that's pretty safe for them to do. Um
I didn't like that game
yeah,
that much. So,
something about like I think I've heard it articulated, like it might have been Alex Navarro on the Beastcast or something, like the levels are just too big.
that's
Like
literally what I
something's
said in TDP's thing.
like it's just something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's just they push it too large and
Yep.
you can't see what's going on. You don't have the situational awareness. Like I never felt
Yeah.
like I was in the zone
No, what you
like I
do
wanted
though
to
is
be.
you hide behind a door and you create a death funnel to pass
Yeah,
every level.
which I would do in the first game too, but like not always. Whereas that seems to be the only viable thing to
Yeah.
do
Hmm.
sometimes, and it was yeah, kind of a bummer. And the story, like who
Yeah.
cares? Like the first game, I ended up just going through and getting all the tiles and kind of pouring over everything, playing the levels over and over again, trying to get like A plus or whatever S ranks, all the stuff. Yeah, I definitely. I think I primarily played it on a console though this time, which is probably bad. Like probably doesn't help
Right.
because the mouse control stuff with the original, I probably should have stuck with that, but
Yeah, you
I don't
probably should
know.
have.
I think it was just like I think it had cross buy, PlayStation Plus cross buy stuff.
Yeah,
Like
that sounds about right. I think
so, it
you're
was
right.
like, oh, this is the best value. I get multiple versions of the game and I get trophies and stuff, and that probably didn't help. But just fundamentally, I guess I just didn't feel it was all it needed to be,
Okay.
and that was too bad. But
So
There's a couple tracks that I'll still load up every now and then and just be like, yeah, this is awesome.
we've talked
But
at we've talked at length before on this podcast
mhm.
about your love for
Oh
Majora's Mask.
yeah, that's
So
true.
that Majora's Mask game came out last year
It
on
did.
DS, 3DS.
And I tried really hard to get like the big special edition
Yep.
new 3DS, but failed. Like I was phoning stores weeks before and just couldn't get it together. But I did stay up, went to the launch and all that kind of stuff. Ended up with the new 3DS, and I jumped in on that game real hard and got to the water temple,
Yeah.
and then just kind of was like, wow, I just don't want to play this anymore. Like I just fell off completely. And it was something about like just the deja vu of playing a video game you've played before, and it just kind of wasn't satisfying. Like because there's not going to be anything new in there for you to look for. It's just kind of all known quantity stuff. It just looks slightly better now. Something about like thinking through replaying old games was kind of
Right.
stimulated by that. But it's just like no, I really liked this experience, and I still had the same moment in the Snow Temple where you're kind of racing to defeat the boss because it's about to reset the time and the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
pressure the mechanics kind of put on that scenario, and generally liking that. Mostly because I've never had it fail. If I did, I might hate that game.
Sure.
So I totally get where some people do. But yeah, I don't know. It was a little like there was like a little side thing that I just never remembered where you're literally swimming through hoops that these beavers are leaving for you to get a heart container. And I just felt like this is so crappy. Like what a crappy video game right now. Like just
Yeah.
with it's making me jump through hoops. Like this is the thing everyone hates about like the Superman game, and it's here in like one of
Yeah.
the best N64 games.
This is figuratively what people use to like when
To
they say,
decry this other game,
yeah,
and it's
it makes
totally
you jump
fine in this
through
context.
hoops, literally.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so does The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I did it, and then I just kind of I think that was a souring point because that's in the lead up to the Water Temple area, like where you're Zora and swimming around and stuff.
All
And
right.
I don't know. Like I still generally like that game tried to like change the formula and has the like different villain, kind of this weird stressful context and just a lot of weird like horrific imagery and stuff. But I couldn't make that a full playthrough of that game again.
Right.
So I primarily used my 3DS for brain training
Yeah.
and the most recent like Nintendo thing I got way into was the new Rhythm Heaven game, like Mega
Okay.
Mix.
The Mega Mix. Yeah.
Yeah, which I mean is kind of a big like retread of all the previous ones, but I like those games a lot. And it was kind of like a, big retreatment of the first game, which didn't come out here, Rhythm Tengoku, for the Game Boy Advance.
Hmm.
They remastered a bunch of those games, and just kind of the structure of it I found was kind of cool. It kind of leads you through all this stuff in this kind of character centric, kind of more fun way. So I ended up playing like I was trying to get literally everything, but I've fallen a bit short of that. I think my flow level's at 90, and I have gotten perfects on maybe 60% of the mini games, but I don't know. That had me in its grips for a while there.
Okay.
Probably not going to get more stuff until I play it with my friend Ben was also playing it. So we need to team up and do some 2-player challenges. But yeah,
Right.
I like that. I like that series a lot.
Cool.
Oh, I also really got into Super Hot, which was this year,
Okay.
I think.
I never even played it. So.
I thought it was really neat, but I guess I don't know. People were kind of the value proposition was another thing for that game because it can be short, but if you like what it's doing, you'll probably play it for more than you need to for to get your
Okay.
value out of it. Like I probably put about 30 hours into it.
Okay. That's
Uh,
pretty good.
like it kind of had like it's bullet time type stuff, but done really. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was really focusing on that kind of as you move, time moves, and just kind of this really stripped down art style and stuff. It kind of just reminded me of a bunch of like things I found myself doing in games of years past anyway, which was like I'm gonna put the perfect dark and slow-mo mode and play this one level in the office tower.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome. And then just like Max Payne 2 comes out and it has this like infinite waves mode, and it's just like, this is awesome. I'm gonna put on a bunch of music I like and just shoot dudes forever. And then Super Hot is kind of appealing to those same things, where it's just like, it's a crazy shooting gallery. It looks super stylish. There's crazy weapons. I don't know. There's crazy weapons. There's firearms and swords and ninja stars. Like, it's whatever. But the way those kind of factor into just this kind of killing a whole bunch of dudes and you're by yourself, kind of, I don't know, Kill Bill, Crazy 88 kind of thing. Like, just, I don't know. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, sharp looking thing. I guess they're making a VR version. I haven't gotten on board that train at all, but I kind of am very curious about it. Virtual reality, I understand it's real. It's totally viable. There's that PlayStation VR coming out in October. Yeah, that's kind of why that's the one we're looking at.
Sure.
Because there was like, when the Oculus was launching, it's just like, all right, let's see if our PC. Oh, okay. Ooh, it's gonna be $1,000 upgrade at least. All right, let's not do that. And just kind of moving on to another way to do that stuff.
I hear you.
Curious about it though. They're remastering Skyrim too, right? Not for VR necessarily, but they're just
they are
Skyrim.
Yeah, just straight up. Let's re-release our biggest seller, I guess.
I might totally be in that kind of like demographic that would totally buy that now. Like, it's just like, yeah, I'll buy that game a third time. Sorry, you guys. Like, they were right to do this, because I'll totally fall for it. I've been kind of thinking about that game, because I never
realized that they're literally just taking the mods that are on PC and putting it on console, right, to make it look better.
So if I just beef up my computer, I could have had that.
Like, seriously, yes. For years now, you could have had it.
I guess so.
Which is hilarious.
Something about the weird, like, constrained environment of a console, though, like, it makes achievements matter to me. I don't know why. Like, because it's like, we're all within this, like, peer group where that is a point of comparison, whereas Steam achievements are just kind of there, but they're not anything anyone brags about, as far as I know. Like, there just doesn't seem to be the same competition in that arena. So I don't know. Like same with the Far Cry Primal thing. Like, if it's like a list of objectives, like, or Super Star Wars, they just re-released that Super Nintendo game on PS4, and I was like, wow, this is the best thing ever, because now I get acknowledgement for knowing dumb tricks and playing this game.
Yeah.
So I totally played through that a bunch too. Like, it's just like, I know where to get infinite lives, so I'll just go down there, and then I'll just play through this and get all these kills as like Chewbacca or whatever. Like, there's dumb stuff in that game, but it's not a great game. Like, it's just a chaotic side-scrolling Contra-esque thing, but Star Wars.
Yep.
But I had it on Super Nintendo, and they had trophies now, so I had to do it. I don't know.
And then you fly around in the last level while Darth Vader is trying to kill you.
Oh, like like in the Death Star trench run?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, well, his ship flies down there, and you blast him away. I never beat Super Empire, which I think you straight up fight him in a crappy lightsaber duel.
I think you're right.
And then I tried to roll all that into playing like Super Return of the Jedi, and I can't play that game.
Oh, is that the one where he turns into a scorpion?
There's dumb scorpion-esque. No, that's the NES game, I think.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely heard about Darth Vader turning into a scorpion.
Yeah.
There's dumb stuff in the Super Nintendo game too, though, where like in the bottom of the sandcrawler, there's just a lava pit and there's a giant monster there. Like, it just doesn't. It's profoundly video game, but I still love it. I don't know. I have an incredibly high patience for that game, because I had to enjoy it, because I bought it when I was 11 or something, and just that's what I had to play.
The same reason why Shadows of the Empire you still have a special place in your heart for.
Yeah, like, it's just like, I know this is bad, but I learned all of it, so
right.
I need to enjoy it. I'm kind of thinking about playing the PC version of that game because it's the best one.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, now I get to finally see what was meant to be seen with this game. Yeah, bad
I've,
games of old.
I have another thing I can bring up.
Okay,
Have you played Zero Escape Zero Time Dilemma yet?
I have started playing it.
Thoughts?
Generally pretty positive. I heard Sean's thoughts about it, and I guess it does feel weird how it starts things up. Like it just kind of drops you right in and assumes you know what's going on.
Right.
Which is fine because it's the third game in the series, so I do to some extent. And those games were well written enough to where some of that stuff actually has lingered in my memory despite not playing them for quite a while. But some of the particulars are a little fuzzy. Um, I'm playing on the Vita,
Okay.
which is uh, it's a bit weird because it's like it's a lot of touchscreen related stuff. So you're kind of smudging up the screen you're also looking at, which just seems to be a thing with the Vita. So I have to have like a cloth handy,
Right.
um, which isn't the best way to play that game, maybe. But I know VLR had a lot of horrible save glitches
Okay.
on the 3DS. Brittany is currently playing through that version, and there's like certain rooms she can't save in, or else her save will get corrupted.
Great.
And that's just known about the game, but it's like, yeah, it's already shipped. Sorry, like just watch out, kind of thing. Like it's like, oh, it's a little unfortunate, but it's like a kind of smaller publisher, and there's not a lot of
Well, I'm
money.
excited that they're coming to PC. 999 and that.
Good, yeah. I
Yeah.
generally like it's some really cool, creative, like sci-fi writing. I really like it for that.
Right.
And it has like the puzzle room kind of side to it, and that we've been actually doing real puzzle rooms. Like that stuff's actually a little more approachable now. Maybe like I'm actually better at figuring that stuff out, I feel, than I was before, because it's just kind of like the type of logic is similar, even though
Right.
it's like,
Right.
oh, well, you need to use the bazooka here. It's like, well, that's crazy, but it's a video game.
Yeah.
Uh, like, so you wouldn't encounter that at the locked room. But have you done any of those, by the way? Like
No.
actual, oh, they're so fun. I don't know. I really like, they're fun if you're only with people you know.
Yeah.
Every time we've been lumped in with like, hey, it's a birthday party is also here. Like it's been terrible. We haven't gotten
Okay.
anywhere.
Right.
But like, cause it's kind of embarrassing if you can't solve it, so you don't like having strangers there too. But if
Yeah.
you win, it's great. But kind of being free to share ideas and stuff with the people there, that helps a lot. So I generally endorse the whole idea, but yeah, try to book the whole room to yourself if should you try it. But
Fair enough.
yeah, no, the zero time dilemma, like yeah, the zero escape games in general, I still feel pretty strongly about. I don't know if it's fair to say this one, like the budget shows a little more, maybe.
Okay.
Like I know it was kind of like there was a point where it was not certain whether they could even finish the game, which is super unfortunate because VLR finishes on kind of a cliffhanger. There's something about the stiffness of some of the animations and just kind of how few animations there are, or like ways the camera will just kind of pan up and then you'll hear a sound effect and then it'll kind of pan back and oh, something horrible happened or whatever. Like it kind of just seems like they can't do everything they want. Like maybe I've just gotten too used to like the Telltale way of doing it, where they kind of try their best to animate everything for you,
Right.
and they're kind of getting bigger and bigger budgets and scaling up and stuff. That said, I haven't kept up too much on that stuff. I finished season 2 of Walking Dead,
What did you
and
think of that? I never played it, but I the
the way
reason
I
I'm
played it,
actually excited to know is because one of the last podcasts I listened to of us back in the day was us
mhm.
just like tearing walking like the idea of a season 2 of that like apart.
Oh, okay.
So
Hmm.
it was
I'm
okay though.
trying to. Well, the way I played it was kind of broken up by quite a few months. Like I played the first
Oh,
3 episodes, which are kind of a piece, and then I played the last 2 episodes. As I recall, like Sean kind of didn't like the last 2 episodes because they don't fit with the main story of the first three. But
okay.
so I kind of think I split it up because of that. Like I was just like, okay, I'll end after 3 because that's a conclusion to this part, and then I'll just wait, and then when I feel like playing an adventure game again, I'll load it up and than I did. So I think I generally felt pretty good about it.
Okay.
I've kind of like now I just kind of know these are kind of one shot experiences. Don't go back and play them again and change your choices. It's not worth it. Like it'll
Yeah.
bottleneck like pretty severely. Like when those first started coming out, I would go through them multiple times because it was just like, oh, I want to see all the permutations, and then you kind of see behind the veil, like, oh, there isn't much difference. Like these are constrained. Like, yeah, it's just kind of actually okay. I will bring that back to Zero Escape. They recognize that curiosity and make that kind of the engine that drives the game because all the different permutations are what is important about that. Like they
Right.
want you to see all the different branches and they incorporate that into the larger narrative. So I feel that's very brilliant, like a concession to what games are good at, which is kind of
In
involving you,
in a
you
way
know?
that Telltale is not good at that at all.
Well, they kind of, it's weird. It's like they're trying to make like a movie
Right.
and they let you kind of tinker with some of it, but they don't want you tinkering too much
They let
because they
you
have a
tinker with
very,
the pause button and the play button.
it's weird. Yeah. It's kind of that limited sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Which made some of the like, oh, you failed that combat section, game over, just seem stupid because you're just like,
Yeah,
why would you
yeah.
do that? Uh, I guess to bring up another thing, I actually now like another adventure game of late that I felt was also pretty smart about using that curiosity and making it part of the story was the Life is Strange games,
Oh my
like
god.
those episodes.
That was actually like one of my favorite things I played last year.
I had a really great week with that game
Thank you.
because
Yes. I made the
it
games. I don't know why I'm thanking you for it.
yeah, you're welcome. Or thanks very much for making those.
No, I really,
Uh,
really love that game.
um, I ended up playing all of them in kind of one big week where I actually had a sick day too.
Okay.
So I was like, I guess I'll just go through another episode kind of thing and just kind of kept playing one a day. I think it pretty much worked out to be. I might have done two in one day just because I was having a good time.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Like the way it kind of has the little time, like you can see and then go back. You get
Yep.
like a sense of where things are going, and then be like, do you want that to be kind of what happens? And you don't get a full like all of the tale of that
Right.
sequence of events, but that they kind of let you play around with the branches a bit. I really appreciated that. And generally felt like I was like yeah, I just kind of got caught up in the story and ended up quite
Yeah.
enjoying it. I
Me too.
found I found it a little weird. Like in all the conversations I've heard people talking about it, I've never heard people just like I don't know if I've been listening to the wrong people, but no one talks about Donnie Darko, and it just seems very Donnie Darko
It is
to
Donnie
me.
Darko.
I know,
Well, uh,
like
there's
there's a
one
key
thing I
thing
want to
that is
say that
very
is
Donnie
actually the
Darko.
spoiler.
Yeah, I know, but it
Yeah,
was just
okay.
like, oh wow, that was Donnie Darko, and then it's just like everyone's talking about Twin Peaks or like just I don't know. It just didn't seem like that was the thing. The point. It was the natural point of comparison, but I just didn't hear it coming up very
I
often.
want to feel like the reason they don't is out of respect for people who might be interested enough to play it.
Okay. I don't think
Maybe?
that's. Well, I just don't even necessarily mean specific things to the whole thing that's going on. I mean, just like I don't know, just like you're in high school or you're in school.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant specifically the
There are
ending.
specific things too, but just kind of something about the general way the tone of it just felt very like that too. I don't know.
A little
I
bit,
watched
yeah.
that again recently. Um, at a waffle place, which is the best way to say it
The
because it
fuck?
has waffles.
Alright, sure. Yeah, okay.
I guess I won't. Yeah, there's a yeah
Okay.
Monday movie nights. They're pretty fun. But yeah, no, I was pretty impressed with Life is Strange as well. Just stuff that kind of like knows you want to know more and doesn't like basically slap you for doing that. Like, oh, I played it again, and hey, guess what? There's no way to avoid that. It is what happens kind of thing. Like, I don't like that. Like,
Sure.
like Zero Escape will be like, yeah, it was a bad thing that happened. Good thing you can go back, but now you know a thing from that sequence of events, and that will kind of factor into everything else, if only for context, but probably for more like interwoven things. And then Life is Strange is kind of giving you that ability, which the whole game's story kind of centers around anyway, and then kind of letting you kind of just read the story in a more involved way. I don't know. Like I could tell it's like, well, there's not much I can do past a point, but that felt like an actual dilemma for the character too, not just arbitrary, like not the kind of distanced fatalistic thing that you get from watching a movie where you're not involved at all. This at least kind of brought you in a little bit more. I kind of like that. What there's talk of a live, like they're making a movie or something.
All right, quick question: who would you
Yeah.
cast as Chloe, as Max, and let's say Nathan,
Okay.
and you know, I was gonna say something that's super spoilery, so let's not say that.
Okay.
Let's say the main three kids that like the antagonist, or at least the antagonist you think is the antagonist
Yeah.
for most of the game. That's
I
kind of
feel like
spoilery in a way, but
mhm.
and the two protagonists.
That's a tough question because it kind of asks for familiarity with like young actors and actresses that I don't know that I would know.
Yeah, so this question
Um,
was actually posed to me,
yeah.
and I couldn't answer it because every answer I had, the actress and actors and stuff like that are
Or
like
too old.
30.
Yeah. So at this
Yeah,
point, it's just like, well, maybe contact some of those kids from Stranger Things, give them an audition at least. But like, I don't know. Like,
sure.
when was that shot too? That could be too long ago. But
Okay, let's talk about like our like childhood actors and actresses and
mm,
like children that we know as children, maybe. I don't know.
Anna
You know what I mean.
Chlumsky, Michelle Trachtenberg.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just put them in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, Jonathan Lipnicki, he's in there somewhere.
What about
Like,
Jonathan Taylor Thomas? You know, as
no,
Nathan,
no, I don't know.
the teenage heartthrob as like the villain.
Austin O'Brien, that's a person. He's
That is a
from
person.
Last Action Hero. I don't actually really like him, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's such a. This is actually a thing that I kind of ran into. Like, just there's this app called Akinator that
Okay.
is basically just kind of think of a person and it'll kind of use search algorithms and stuff to kind of figure out who you're
Chloe
thinking
Grace
about.
Moretz. Her name is Chloe
She's
already,
too
for
old
Christ's
too
sakes.
now, but
It doesn't
sure,
matter.
if they had made this before Life is Strange existed, that would have been perfect. I don't know about his Chloe though. Like, I guess I was just really impressed with like the voice acting performances. That was Ashley Birch, and
Yep.
that was kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, it was
'Cause I was
crazy
just
to me
like-
too because I hate Ashley Birch when she
Exactly.
voice acts.
I
And
was
that,
like,
yeah,
wow, I really like that character. Who was
Yeah.
that? Fuck.
Yeah,
I need to
yeah.
validate Ashley Birch now because
Yeah.
she did a really good job, and I just didn't really enjoy the podcast she was doing with her brother and all this stuff. Like, it was just weird because I just knew too much. But no, she did a good job. Like, if
Yeah,
she won a
for sure.
Spike Video Game Award or something, she deserved it. I don't know if they did those. They stopped doing
me
those. But whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, anyway, one of them was literally like, who are the top American actresses, like,
Okay.
on this app? And it was just like, I don't know, like, Jennifer Lawrence, maybe.
Okay.
Nope. I was like,
Oh.
really? She's crazy popular. Like,
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart? Nope.
What? Oh,
Okay. I don't know. And then it was just like, eventually I was just down to where I'm like running out of people. And I was like, Selena Gomez. Sure. I like Spring Breakers. Number one American actress on this app. And the rest of them were from some other Disney show that I don't know at all because I'm not like 14. So it just kind of showed me, oh, there's this giant generation gap with who is using this app. And
oh, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, but I was like, those people would probably know who should cast. Like, maybe some of the people from Teen Wolf, there's a series. Maybe some of them are good at acting, and they could use a better written
I'm
thing.
sure that's
I
not
don't know.
true.
I don't know. Like, yeah, the various Disney kids, maybe there's something they could do. The Stranger Things people. I'm assuming everybody who was in Super 8, even though that cast chemistry was pretty good, is too old now because that was 5 years ago. So
You're right. Yeah.
yeah, it's like you run through like pretty fast. I don't know. I don't even know. Like there's supposed to be Stranger Things season 2, right? Is
Yeah.
it how are like I would hope maybe they're just gonna deviate quite a bit
Nope.
from what's going on.
Apparent from what I'm told, it's a direct continuation, which is
Okay.
wrong. I think
Well,
that's a
there's
wrong way
some
to do it.
threads that were there, so I understand.
I
Like I
understand it
see
too,
what
but
they're
it's
doing.
wrong. Every
It's gonna
season
be
should
weird,
be its
yeah.
own weird, like,
Anthology, like
yeah,
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 yeah.
its own like
I
Reader's
have.
Digest horror thing,
hmm I've certainly heard that said about like kind of what end. Well, True Detective did do that though, and
and it
people hated the
failed.
second season.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like to the point where I've kind of shied away from even checking it out yet because people were so negative. And I really liked that first series, but so did everybody. So apparently, I don't know. I still want to know what did Vince Vaughn do. I just want to know because dramatic acting and Vince Vaughn. That Psycho remake, people forget
Not me.
that
I
was
remember
yeah.
it. I was there day one in the theater.
That really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I
Good
mean,
job.
I guess.
Because nobody cared about that movie. Like it is kind of weirdly decried, but what a
Mhm.
weird remake because it is so direct. I watched that with commentary a while ago just to like know more because
Mhm.
yeah, I don't think that's ever really happened again. Where it's like, oh, an iconic movie, we'll shoot that exactly the same but with different actresses and actors. How about that? I don't know, weird,
We should
but
talk more about movies this year, quickly.
okay, recent movies.
Yeah.
I didn't care about X-Men. Didn't care about the DC. Did you see Batman versus Superman?
No. Did you?
Okay. No, I didn't even see
Okay.
Man of Steel, so I'm like not
That's
even
right.
prepared to.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, like
Um,
it's like Michael
wh-
Shannon's fine, but I don't
what
know.
about Star Trek? That came out
We
recently.
yeah, we recently watched Star Trek.
It was okay?
It was okay. I
Okay.
liked it more than the second one because it doesn't copy paste giant sections of a previous screenplay and try to make that a movie. It's
Right.
a new movie. There's
Yeah.
a different story that they tell. It's not always great, but at least it was a bit different. And yeah, we kind of I don't know. It was just like good atmosphere for watching it too. Just like we were in the mall all day. It's raining. Let's go check out a movie. Like yeah,
Okay.
generally pleasant experience.
I still actually don't know
Oh
anything about that movie. I didn't even know it was coming out, and then I heard on the Wednesday before it came out that it was coming out in 2 days.
yeah,
So,
Simon Pegg wrote it. It's got kind of I don't know that you can really be like, oh, that's clearly Simon Pegg stuff. Although there is one really dopey thing that happens that I might be like, yeah, that was probably him. That was probably his idea. And it was super silly, but I guess it fits. And I won't necessarily say exactly what it was.
okay.
But yeah, the way they saved the day.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you see Warcraft?
Oh man, we should talk about Warcraft. I did see Warcraft,
Okay.
and
It sounds like we're going to get into it a little bit about it.
maybe
I'm
yeah.
just going to quickly say, did you see the new Ghostbusters?
I did see the new Ghostbusters. I've actually seen the new Ghostbusters 2 times.
Okay,
So
we'll get a little more into that then. What about
elaborate on
Independence
that too.
Day?
I meant to see it. We were hoping that would be a drive-in experience thing too, and missed it. So I haven't actually seen it yet. But I
Okay.
intended to. But we're now kind of waiting for the cheap theaters because I think we missed its initial run.
What
But I still want to see it
drive-in
on a big
are you
screen.
even talking about?
It's in BC actually. It's
Oh,
Enderby, the Starlight.
okay.
Yeah, they do a double feature. Double Finding Dory was also there, but we'd already seen it, so I've seen that too.
Okay.
I was a little not super stoked about it,
Fair enough.
but
I kind of
yeah,
don't care because I didn't really care about the first one.
I didn't either. But I guess it's just like 94%. Wow, it's like no, critics are weird.
I think that's all
Um,
the big movies besides the ones. Oh, Civil War, Captain America, Civil War.
I had said I saw that. Ant-Man was the coolest part of that movie.
I mean, yeah, you're not
Yeah,
wrong.
I found okay. I actually might want to elaborate a little bit on
Okay,
something,
let's start elaborating.
just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
Like something about the tone of the Captain America movies specifically. Like I
yeah.
hadn't seen Winter Soldier until shortly before that. Like I borrowed it from a friend just to fill in the blanks or
I
whatever before
recently
I
saw
saw
it
it.
as well, actually. Winter Soldier. It's fresh in my mind.
Yeah, I find those movies like are weirdly encroaching upon territory that is reserved in my brain for Metal Gear. The way it
Yeah, okay.
takes like real framing and like mixes it with dopey, insane stuff.
Yeah,
Like it's like, well, the Pentagon is like they have this secret thing, and it's Toby Jones is a computer, and he's under the, like when they load up that USB drive and there's crazy old computers and stuff. It's
sure.
like this is kind of cool, but I'd think it was cooler if it was a Metal Gear game or something. Like it was just, or like there's the footage of like, oh, in Civil War, it's like, oh, this is what's this crazy assassination that like the Winter Soldier's doing? What's happening? Like in 1990, there's this cam footage or whatever. And it's just like something about how seriously it takes its politics and all that stuff. I just don't get involved in it. I find it kind of just weirdly cold and not fun in the Captain America context.
Okay.
Like Ant-Man is fun, Guardians of the Galaxy is fun. Captain America is kind of weirdly serious, but it's serious about nonsense. Like it's like there were other Nazis called Hydra, and they've infiltrated all of society, and it's just like you can't really treat that seriously. Like I'm just gonna snicker at you, but you're gonna have super serious scenes where like a politician is on the payroll of Hydra or whatever, and that just doesn't pay off for me. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
can
do.
you do you
But I
do
think
you
the
have fun
way
with those or?
well, I think they have to do it that way for it to make sense as like the way they're doing it in like the movies. Because in the
Mhm.
comic books, the reason for like Civil War is like a dumb comic book thing. So like they had to put
Well,
more
it's
of
the
a political
registration
spin.
stuff, right? Like it's still about registering heroes, but does it
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
do with like a Skrull invasion or something? Like, is there
Uh
some other convoluted reason?
yeah, it's pretty convoluted, but like
Okay.
it's more of a like relatable human like problem, I guess. Like who's gonna keep an eye, like who watches a Watchmen type of bullshit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like that they're supposed to be held accountable and stuff. The problems I had with Civil War specifically were
Hmm.
more that like even though they do have like a gravitas towards like this subject matter of like
Yeah, yeah.
kind of freedom and like not freedom basically if you wanted to boil it down to like the basics,
Hmm.
um it it doesn't go far enough with it. Like every time when they're fighting or whatever, these are supposed to be opposite sides of like an ideology, and like it feels like the whole time they're holding back their punches, which is why I think like the end specifically fights of like Captain America Civil War are what stand out, where like they're going for each other's blood basically.
Right. Where it finally sort of starts to boil over.
And that's
Like,
how I felt it should have been the whole time.
yeah, because like the big fight that happens is kind of, yeah, everybody holding back, but it's all the heroes are involved, and it's kind of just big and splashy, and it
The thing
kind of
is,
was the most fun
it
scene
was
for
the most
me, but
fun.
it's not.
The problem is like the whole movie should either be that fun or should all be as serious as the end.
Yeah, I guess it was a bit out of sync with. I don't know. It was like, oh, the movie got fun for like 15 minutes. Those were my
Yeah.
favorite 15 minutes. And
Yeah.
then the rest of it's like, well, this is pretty good action staging and all this stuff, but I just don't care. Like I don't really.
The new
I don't think
Spider-Man's cool.
I'm sorry, I was about to. I guess so. I still find it kind of weird and like recasting so frequently in the last little while, but yes, I guess so.
I like
He
him
was
because
he was fun.
he's fun. He was just kind of like a younger, just like more like I'm a kid that is like having fun with his powers and like, oh, this big time dude is talking to me. So
Hmm.
like I'm gonna probably follow this sort of thing. And then
Hmm.
like not
Okay.
Marissa Tomei, yeah.
Yeah.
Um I
Yeah.
guess the
Sorry.
whole like not having feeling like they had to retread his origin story in there somewhere quickly. Like they just kind of make reference
Sure.
to it like things go bad when I'm not like careful or something. Like he says
I'm
like
glad.
a
I'm glad there
throwaway
wasn't
line.
just like, so what happened to your uncle or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Like, he
for
didn't
sure.
decide to reiterate that again.
Yeah,
Was
for sure.
fine. Yeah, I guess they introduced him okay.
Like
The
there's
thing
some
I was gonna say,
confidence in there that we know who this is. Don't worry about it.
yeah, just trust you to know that by now.
Until like the fact that they're making another movie and they're probably gonna retread that, but whatever.
or at least allude to it, I guess.
That's what I mean. Like, they're probably gonna maybe a flashback sequence or something because
Mhm.
audiences are dumb in the minds of corporate
Or
Hollywood.
at that, there's always the weird possibility that this is some 10-year-old's first Spider-Man movie. So
I guess so.
yeah,
That's
it's
weird.
kind of
That's
yeah.
weird.
I don't think I like Bucky very much. Like
Bucky
I just,
sucks. He's actually the worst character in this universe because
but
he
they
doesn't
kind
have a
of
character.
they pin a lot on
He is
him.
the
Like he gets
linchpin. Yeah.
a lot of time, and it's just
Yeah.
like I just don't like. It was in Winter Soldier specifically. It's like he just has this like moody long hair. And I was like, I don't care about this guy.
He
So he's
sucks
got
in
a
that
robot
too.
arm, and despite having a robot arm, I still don't care. Like it was. I don't know. It's not my favorite stuff. But
For somebody who is so important in these storylines and that ostensibly should have the most character and personality, he has the least.
yeah, I guess that's something I just like. The Captain America trio of films so far kind of lose points for me for just that fun factor just isn't there as
That's
much.
too bad. I really like the
Like
first one.
I haven't seen that one in a while, and I think I like that one the most too, just because Hugo Weaving was really great.
Yeah.
But it's been a while since I've seen it. Uh, but yeah, with Winter Soldier, I know it was the one that kind of I was the least impressed by. It was just a
Yep.
little too.
I agree with you.
Starstruck.
When people talk about that movie, they talk about like it's the best one, and I
It's like,
don't
what have
understand
you
that
been
myself.
talking about? It's like Robert Redford is there, and I don't know, but
I don't get it myself, so
yeah,
whatever.
maybe something about taking it very seriously is something validating for comic fans. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because like I much prefer the goofy Guardians of the Galaxy tact of just like this raccoon is drunk and he can shoot guns and he has a tree friend
We
like that
actually
stuff.
watched that recently, so yeah, you're right. It
I just
stuck
like
out to me
that.
as fun.
It's just a space adventure. It's almost Spaceballs 2. Like it's goofy comedy in space, but also
Yep.
action. I don't know. It's got more of what I enjoy. And I don't know how they're going to mesh those things all together eventually. It's going to be weird.
It's gonna be a
But
mess.
at least they're sort of making it come together, though. That's,
Yeah.
I guess, again, alluding to the way DC is trying to do the same thing. And they're right. They have a cast of characters. They probably should have had that figured out, but I just never cared about almost anyone outside of the core two dudes, Batman and Superman. But even
Right.
them being pitted against each other wasn't something that I ever wanted to really see. So,
Right.
oh, it's such a weird, yeah. Like just this onslaught of just, oh, there's like several more movies scheduled. Get ready. Like people are saying positive things about Wonder Woman, and fine. I don't know anything about that character. She has an invisible plane. Is
Yeah.
that true? Okay.
She's an Amazon
Okay.
and like a badass.
She has a whip or something. Like I played that Mortal Kombat game.
She has
So I've
gauntlets
seen
that
these
give her
people.
power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gauntlets. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or bangles or whatever you want to call them.
So wait,
The
have you,
wrist things.
I remember you liked Man of Steel to some extent, right?
Yeah.
So are you kind of okay with this growing collection of DC business that's happening?
Yeah.
Like, am I
I'm
talking
okay.
down
I'm
to
o-
you? Okay.
No, I'm okay with all this because I don't really give a shit. It's just schlocky action stuff for me. I'm okay with that.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Actually, this will work as a bit of a segue. Like, I guess that's fine. You're right. I don't understand like kind of investing all sorts of like personal like energy into whether or not this big schlocky thing is good is going to impact your childhood or
It's because a
your
lot of
development as a
people that
person.
grew up with the comics, like, it's kind of part of their identity.
I
In the
guess
same
so,
way
yeah.
that, like, for you watched, like, a lot of movies growing up and stuff, and that's kind of part of your identity.
That's true.
So, like,
I'm trying to think if like what would someone have to do to really get my blood up the same way people's blood was up about this Ghostbusters movie.
make Argo, maybe.
Make Argo, yeah, you're right. If they were to make a movie as insipid as Argo,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would be really upset. You're
Sure.
right.
I still
so
haven't seen it,
It
you
would
know?
be even worse if they made that and then gave it like trophies and said it was really great.
How could they? There's
I
no
don't
way
know.
that would actually happen.
You're right. Fine. So yes, things can get my blood up in film, but
Okay.
I guess I don't mean like, is there some franchise that if someone decided to remake it, it would just like get right under my skin, you know?
Right.
Like it just totally pissed me off.
There
If
isn't for me because the original thing still exists.
Sure.
So I'm
Yeah,
okay
like
with
it's
that.
like, well, you can always go back and still watch it. So
Yep.
like Ghostbusters 1 and 2 are forever there.
Yep.
And if you know, they were never going to make a Ghostbusters 3. They made that
Right.
video game instead. So just
Right.
play that again. Like, what are you complaining about? I don't know. Like, yeah, that movie, I think like, there was
What
so
movie?
much
Just to be clear.
Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
there
I've
was
seen this,
so
by the way, so
much
we can talk about this.
negative energy going into it
Yep.
that when it was just kind of a totally fine comedy, I was just like,
Yep.
oh wow, how about that?
I
There's
liked
like
it,
jokes in it,
actually.
some of them are funny. All right,
I would
like
say less than half are funny, but they tried. I'm sure they're
there's
funny
some
to somebody.
misses, and
I felt
I
like there's a few
remember
misses, but sure.
what you were saying about Kate McKinnon. I think you're mostly right. Like she's kind of hamming it up in this weird way
Like
that's
too much for
kind
me.
of like it's like, well, that's I haven't, I will give them some points for being like, these characters aren't directly analogous to the previous four
The
characters,
thing is,
so
though,
at
is
least
that
they did that.
Egon was weird because he was like a geek. It wasn't
Yeah,
because he was like a Kramer.
yeah, like he
Like
wasn't kooky.
he
He
wasn't
was just
weird.
the line would be completely serious, and it's just like, I collect spores, molds, and fungus. That's the
Exactly.
joke, but
Yeah.
he actually collects those, and like
Yeah.
he's just into it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, yeah, there's the scene where she's talking about like upgrading all the gear, and she made a freaking Faraday cage or something, and she's like, this is kind of cringily bad.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
I guess at least they're trying to be different. I don't know. Like, I wasn't mad at it, but it was like, especially the second time I watched it because Brittany hadn't seen it, and I was like, this is okay. Like,
Yeah.
let's go watch it. And before I had seen it the Thursday night, I kind of wanted to see it myself, like right away, just to know if it's as on fire as the internet was upset about. And
You've
I
actually
didn't
been
feel
reading
that
the
way.
internet?
I've kind of been looking at the internet. Yeah,
Okay.
I kind of keep checking that
Let's
IMDb
save this
page.
all. Let's all save this all for the end.
Okay, it's just like, is it still at like 3.4? Oh, it's at 5.2 now. Okay, like
But
it's
yeah, no,
balancing
I'm
out.
with you. It was totally fine.
Like,
I guess I was
it's not
expecting a
groundbreaking.
dumpster fire, and
Yeah,
what I got was an enjoyable couple hours. Like, it was fine.
yeah. I I'm trying to like the final half hour I thought was really splashy special effects wise. I
Yep.
was kind of impressed with some of that. Like it's just like,
Mhm.
wow, there's almost a kaiju moment in here. That's kind of cool.
Sure.
Um, fast, goofy. It's I guess I just don't quite get like the reverence for
The
the
original?
first two movies
No,
because
I'm
they're
with you.
kind of just they're dopey comedies.
Yeah.
Like starring Saturday Night Live dudes, and they're not taking themselves super seriously.
And quite frankly,
So
I don't find them that great, necessarily.
I generally like them,
They're
but
fine. The second one I don't like very much at all.
okay.
And I think the first one maybe is too slow. I've tried to watch the first one actually after seeing this movie 3 separate times, and I've fallen asleep within the first 20 minutes at each time.
That's just that 80s pacing. Like,
Yeah,
it's just,
it is. It totally
man, they
is.
just don't get down to it fast enough. Jeez. A little, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just a weird thing to really have reverence for because it's a comedy. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if they made another Airplane movie, would you get really upset? Because
Yeah, you know me.
No, I don't know. Like, I like Airplane. It's a comedy with a lot of jokes in it. It's really silly. If someone decided to just make that formula again, but here it is again. It's got like maybe it's got comedians you don't like.
Oh, here's one. What
You
about
know?
like if they remade Naked Gun?
Sure. It's like, hey, you can't have Frank Drebin in a movie. Leslie Nielsen's passed away. How disrespectful is that?
Yeah, now it's
like,
Channing
no,
Tatum instead.
it's Channing Tatum. Channing
Yeah,
Tatum is
sure.
going to be in the new Naked Gun movie.
Sure.
Like, I wouldn't be super on board, but I don't think I would have like some concerted effort to like give it 1 star on Metacritic or whatever, like just to like blast the movie with my negative hatred about it. Like, it's just like, well, whatever, just go watch Naked Gun again. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
It did seem
Um,
a little strange how
so
blunt that got. We could
let's
even
ex-
talk about Angry Video Game Nerd and how weirdly he got pulled into it.
that actually annoyed me.
I didn't think that was fair because
No,
nothing he was saying was about the gender politics side of it at all. It was just, yeah, I really like those old things, and I know I like those, so I don't really like this new thing, and I don't want to watch it. And apparently, you're not allowed to. I don't know. I guess it's a
I
little
mean
like
that's fine. I just don't understand why he even did that. To be
you're right.
honest,
Like, why did he need to assert that position? I don't know,
because
but
like my stance from it is that if you really were such a big fan, like when I'm a fan of something, I want to see every iteration of it to see if maybe there's a good new version of it.
right.
Like, so like when they make Resident Evil again and again and again, I still buy it. I still play it, even though, like, even if I'm like, well, 5 wasn't that great. Like, I played it with a friend, that was kind of cool, but like, I played it on my own and that sucked. But like, I still bought 6. I was still on board. Like, I
Hmm.
have to see every iteration and see like what it goes through. So it just
Sure.
makes me think that James Rolfe probably never even really liked Ghostbusters and is riding some train of like he thinks he should like it. Fuck that
Are
guy.
just so of a time. Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to go down that. I'm more now. I'm just thinking like what I was saying
Declarative
about
statements.
Stephen King. Like I'll read a middling Stephen King book and still have a decent time because I'm a fan. You know, like I'll just
Yeah.
keep going with that, even though. But I'm not like ever trying to suss out whether anyone else should want to check it out because you kind of know or not.
I
But
think what makes
oh
it
wait,
gross to me is when you have like 5 million people watching you, saying
sure,
something like
sure.
that can actually affect like this
Like
thing that
the
you purportedly love.
mhm.
That's
Which I
gross.
guess, yeah, it's just like the entire cast, other than Rick Moranis, is there to kind of give their endorsement. Ivan Reitman produced it. Like, it just seems to have all of the like validation it needs from the original people for you to feel good about it.
Sure.
Like, at least in it existing. This is a thing I kind of didn't feel with the new Muppets movie a couple years ago because
Right.
I knew that Frank Oz actually was upset that it was made. So that doesn't sit well with me. Like it's just like, oh no, like he's the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Of the two guys, he's the only one still alive. So like that's really kind of too bad. Like what is that about? And I don't know. Like it was this movie didn't do that. Like it's like no, we went to all the people. We not only got their permission, like we got them to appear and
Yeah, we
like
got them like
give a thumbs up.
not only their blessing but their participation. Like
Yeah, like
yeah, they were
I
into
don't
it.
I don't really know what kind of principle stance you can take like on that. Like if you don't think it's that funny, like that's fine. Like humor is a relative thing and yeah,
And
not
yeah,
all
I
the jokes are
probably
good.
agree with you cuz I thought a lot of it fell flat, but like it
At
still
least
got
there
me a few
was
times.
yeah,
So,
there was a valiant attempt there. And I don't know. I generally felt pretty positive about it. But
yeah.
it was maybe kind of yeah, that surprise factor of just like, oh, this isn't a dumpster fire. Like that helps a lot. It's just I didn't have a terrible time and I thought I might. Wow. Great. So okay. Ghostbusters.
What about the whole idea that like I
I
know a
haven't
lot of
watched
people
much
were
of it.
saying that like everybody that doesn't see this is like a sexist. What do you think about like that whole weird politic thing that was going
Oh,
on?
like if there's like a counter swing, like yeah, I don't know. That's just I'm a little nervous about the future of that whole thing. Just looking at the box office numbers and stuff, it isn't quite where it needs to be. And this is apparently like the linchpin for making more Ghostbusters things, and I could generally go for more Ghostbusters things.
Right.
But yeah, you don't need to like no, you need to see it or else you're not a good person. Like it's not that great.
No.
Like there's other comedies you could watch that are probably, you know, better, but
Oh, there's
are they
100% better ones, but
but are they in theaters right now? Like sitting there waiting to
I don't actually
watch.
know to be honest with you. Probably not.
Like track down that new Woody Allen movie. Go check out Mila
That
Kunis in Bad
yeah.
Moms.
That might be okay. Maybe.
I maybe
That's like a
I
lowest common denominator type comedy, but
kind of looks like it, yeah. But yeah.
yeah, I thought it was fine. It was serviceable.
Oh man, Sorry, just you know The Wire, that show that is the greatest show that
Yeah, but
everyone
I've never
tells
seen
you.
it.
Yeah, I made a good attempt at watching that. I watched 2.5 seasons of it, I think, pretty much.
Okay. You think or you know?
Well, okay, I'm like 9 episodes into season three. At this
Okay.
point,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
guess
So
is more like three quarters.
sure.
Uh, I really liked the first two seasons, and I really am not enjoying the third one at all. And looking at just kind of the internet, like getting some sense of what this like summation of that, like people really like that third season and feel that's where the show really takes off. And season two was kind of bad. And I don't know, like this is kind of assigning that is what the world feels,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know. I guess I'm missing something on that show. Like I really preferred what season two was doing because it had like a focused mystery, and season three is just kind of general politic business in Baltimore, and I don't know. It's just not like I sorry to kind of dredge up this old show. It's just kind of one of those shows that is in the top 5 shows ever and people revere very, very intensely.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know that I quite understand. Like Idris Elba's pretty cool, and this is where he comes from, kind of thing. This is where he got his break. So I get you there, but
Sure.
past a point, it's just I don't know. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be getting out of the show. It's a cop show. It's all right.
I know Hank is really, really into that show. It's his
Oh
favorite show ever
man,
made.
shit. All right.
So
So I've awoken a sleeping giant. I'm
I
gonna get
can
chastised thoroughly for
right,
not. I don't
right,
know
right.
season
That's
three. Well,
exactly what's
just
gonna happen.
yeah. Maybe I don't know like what I want out of a cop show and what this show's building up to
I mean,
being.
maybe he agrees with you. Maybe he's like, nah, season three's bullshit. It's all about
I
this
don't.
season.
Season two is cool, man. It's got like unions and dock workers and yeah, I watched that one in like 4 days. Like, it was just like 3 episodes a day, just like wow, this is awesome. And then really slowed down in season three. Just a little update, just a little trying to catch up on the pop culture. Hey,
Okay.
Better Call Saul. I like
Yeah.
that show. I like
Okay.
that show.
I still haven't seen it.
That prompted like pretty much an full rewatch of Breaking Bad. Also,
Oh Jesus.
uh,
Okay.
not completely. I
Oh,
actually
okay.
started in season two when Saul was introduced
Oh, I
and
see.
kind of treated it as just like this is the Saul story now, and was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
paying extra attention to him. But just kind of generally like I feel better about that show than I did when I initially started getting mad at that show end of season four when things happened that I thought were better suited to a Batman comic book than the show I thought I was watching. But
Like what?
uh, it's very spoiler thing. But whatever. I guess just like some violent things that can happen in that show seem kind of so over the top that it just seemed crazy to me. You know, like I'll even say like
Sure.
the season three, like those assassins that might as well be Terminators.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it's just a
Okay.
bit too crazy. I don't know. I was more okay with it this time.
I'll go
It's
ahead and just say, like, if you don't want a spoiler for Breaking Bad for like 5 seconds, just skip ahead here. Just
5 years ago.
what part?
When Gus blows up and
Yeah,
walks
yeah.
out.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Two-Face man.
Right.
It was weird.
All right.
But
Spoiler over. That easy.
yeah, it's old stuff, old big giant stuff that everyone's seen already, so it's fine. But Better Call Saul, the spin-off show, a lot of Bob Odenkirk. That prompted a full rewatch of Mr. Show and reading 2 books he wrote. So Bob
Damn.
Odenkirk, he's pretty cool. And his
I've
brother wrote for Futurama. Fun fact.
I do have one thing I wanted to talk about specifically again before
Mm-hmm.
like we can wrap up. We made mention of Warcraft.
Yeah, that's what we need to.
Okay.
Um.
What's
okay.
what's your background with Warcraft?
Hmm. Mostly the world of, but I didn't play it nearly as
Okay.
much as you did.
Mostly the world of Warcraft.
Warcraft, yeah. Like I was
Right.
aware that there were well-regarded strategy games before that, but
Okay.
my cousin and I were more into the StarCraft end of things.
Okay. Sure.
So I don't think I really ever played those original 3 Warcraft games.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah, so it was really World of Warcraft. I didn't play it super intensely. I think I got around level 40. I was a dwarf. I
Yeah, you
had a
were.
pet.
Dwarf's the best
Yeah,
race, man.
I was a hunter. I had a good time.
Did you have a pet bear? Like
I
that
think I had
intro
a wolf
cinematic?
actually.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I didn't have a bear. But yeah, I don't know. Like I just kind of was curious about this movie because critics got real upset about it. So
Yeah,
I
they
guess
did.
I should keep an open mind about all the DC stuff. Maybe it's actually pretty good.
Sure.
Just because it's the same people. But Duncan Jones, he's made a couple feature films.
Yeah,
I liked Moon a whole lot,
Moon's real
and
good.
watching Source Code again like a few months ago, I think I like it more now. I was maybe a little disappointed because it wasn't Moon
When you
at
think
all.
about it like a video game, that movie makes
It's a
sense.
lot better.
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah,
just like, oh, it's kind of like a video game.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, yeah, so I kind of had some faith that it surely couldn't be as terrible as people were saying, and I didn't think it was terrible at all. I actually had a pretty good time.
Okay, we can still talk then. I'm happy to hear this.
Like it's maybe a bit like truncated. It's like 2 hours, and
Oh, dude, it's so truncated.
they don't really bother explaining some things that I
Yeah,
know, and my friend Ben, who I watched it with, knew way more because he got
yeah, yeah.
hooked for hundreds of hours as opposed to my 100.
Sure.
Uh, but it was still just like seeing that kind of that look and everything looked right.
Yep.
Everything kind of had the like. I think it was just really early on. I was like, "Wow, this is a Warcraft movie." Like
Yeah,
when the dude like sucked all the souls out of those guys and
yeah.
glowed green, and then the portal opened and stuff. I was just like, "Damn, they did it."
Yo,
I'm all right.
how dope
This
was it where Gul'dan just has like a human slave that he's drinking his soul
it
like
was
a
so
fucking
weird. Yeah,
cocktail?
I liked how it went for it though. It was just
Yeah.
weird lore stuff, and I don't know like how much of the whole stuff they're talking about with like the Guardians and what their role is in the world and all this kind of stuff. How much that's exactly from the games.
Yeah. It's
Like, can
very,
you go
very,
up in
yeah.
that tower and there's Golem up there
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
Sweet, that's sweet,
Karazhan is Karazhan. That was a level 70 raid.
cool.
Yeah.
That's even better than for folks that know that. I just thought it looked sharp though, like generally, special effects wise, uh,
Yeah.
mocap, all that kind of stuff. I actually ended up this week buying a Doom hammer from Toys R Us because
Oh, man.
I love the look of their
The
stuff. It's just got
weaponry
this
and their shoulder pads and shit. Yeah.
yeah, it's just got this giant hammer head on it, and it looks like it should be so heavy, but it's a toy. But I don't
Yeah.
know. I just was like, this is way better than Thor's hammer. I have to
Yo,
have this.
was there more at Toys R Us?
Yeah, unfortunately the sale did end. I was like able to they still had sale stuff up from July.
Oh, I don't
But
care about sale. I will buy a Doomhammer.
yeah, there was still a couple Doom hammers there
Was it the one
when I
on
was last there.
32nd?
Yeah, that was the one. So I recommend Doom hammers. I think it's a pretty great plastic hammer. It kind of looks best from one angle because once you flip it, it's like got where the screws are. And
Right,
if you
yeah,
look at
yeah.
the front, it's got where the plastic mold like fits together. But from one angle, it looks super dope. So I like having it around. Um, but yeah, it's been weird seeing how the world has embraced that movie, but North America has not. Like it made
Yeah.
less than $50 million in North America, but like China and Russia are super on board.
Yeah, China specifically paid for that movie.
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm
yeah.
hoping that's enough for them to keep going
It
because
is.
I generally thought they did a pretty good job establishing some pretty out there stuff. Like those orcs look crazy.
Yep.
They have their own political things going on, but they actually made that stuff not incredibly stupid, despite the fact everybody's green. And it's
Sure.
just, it's like this is so absurd, but it's working. This is really great.
Excuse me, not everybody's green. Only the ones infused with
I know.
fur are.
I know, but there's a lot of those dudes. Is that a thing from the second game? Like orcs fighting amongst themselves? Does that enter into one of the strategy games?
Oh
Or
my god. I can't remember Tides of Darkness very well,
okay,
honestly. Like, the first one was very much about them, like,
humans versus
like
orcs.
humans fighting off an invading force, basically.
Yeah. Right.
I can't remember Tides very well. 3 is
Mhm.
where like the lore starts coming in, like really big. That's
Okay.
where it starts introducing characters like Thrall and Arthas and like these really fucking big characters in that
Okay.
universe. So to quickly go back to what you said, Duncan Jones has not officially confirmed, but has stated like
He has
the movie
ideas for
is
more, right?
well, like yeah, he's ready to go now. Like
Okay.
yeah,
And it's like it's a thing where it's like it is the highest grossing video game adaptation ever, and it
yep.
made over 440 million or something worldwide. But all that money isn't from the country that made it, kind of thing, or financed it. So it's a
That's why
little
I'm
weird.
wondering if Warcraft 2 is going to be like Chinese with English subtitles here or
Or
something.
some weird, yeah, international co-production or something.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be what's going to have to happen. But I don't know. I felt for how out there what it was doing was, I thought it was pretty coherent. It's maybe a little short,
Yeah,
in
it's
terms of
super
like
short.
it could use some more elaboration here and there. Like a friend of mine who has no knowledge of this, the same friend that actually watching Uncharted and stuff, my friend Ryan,
Ryan.
like he doesn't
Yeah.
have any Warcraft knowledge, so he found it kind of a bit much. Like he's just like I don't know, but generally felt pretty positive about
I was
like
going to ask
it
you how
looks
you
good,
felt about the
it's
pacing as someone not like
fast, pretty fast.
yeah,
I don't know,
cuz
like
like for like people that I've talked to that are really into that universe and stuff, right?
mhm.
Um we felt it fast because like I was specifically did like a huge spoiler cast the night it came out, like at 2 a.m. when I got home with Hank,
Okay,
and we talked about it, and we were just like, it's great for us because like we know all this lore already, so it's great to just to see like the big flashy stuff on screen because we know the backstory of Karazhan and of like Medivh and stuff like that. But
mhm.
even we were just like, they could have split like what happens in this movie into like 10 movies and it would have been dope as fuck because there's so many things they glossed over, like how Khadgar is actually just like Khadgar was Medivh's apprentice, and like that's never touched on at all in the movie. However, there are weird lines in there where like Medivh will be like, "You've returned" or something, and they're meeting
So
for
it's
the
just
first
like
time.
there's implied relationships that they
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
have time to show you.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And apparently, they cut like a fuckload of time for that movie, so I'm super excited to see a director's cut.
I guess if they ought to do something like that. Like clearly fans are going to be the bread and butter of this movie, so I don't
Yeah.
know. It makes sense that they would cater to that a bit.
Yep.
But I don't know. Like I was just like I'm again kind of pleasantly surprised how not like the movie the critics were perceiving it was. It was like no, I had what I wanted from that. I felt not just kind of tainting the experience in general. I felt sick on the drive home because I think I ate a bad wrap while I was
Oh
there.
yeah. Okay.
But that didn't have anything to do with the movie. It was more just like that day was a little bit tainted afterwards. But despite that, I still generally look back on the movie as like, no, that was pretty solidly executed. Um, I don't know enough about the lore to like. Have you only seen it the one time?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So you just know those characters' names, huh? That's crazy.
You just know those characters' names.
That's something. Like
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of the specifics. I felt like there was maybe one dramatic turn with how orc politics works that seemed really rushed into for how key it was for something that happens late in the movie.
The
Just
end,
as
as
a
in.
kind of yeah, essentially like how a conflict is resolved. It's like on the battlefield making really weird decisions without anyone knowing why kind of thing. I guess it's a spoiling thing, but
You
yeah,
mean where
uh,
Garona kills King Lane?
yeah, that part
So
where
that
that
actually just happens in the lore, but it isn't because she was told to. The weird thing about Garona in the
okay,
movie is that she is the standard tropey female role where everything she does that's badass is because she was told to do it by a man.
Oh, okay.
which is kind of annoying. In
Mhm.
the lore, she's like
She recognizes
a
that
rogue
opportunity and
slave.
takes it. Okay.
Well, no, she's like corrupted into doing it, and then she like hates herself for it after, and so like there's
Okay.
weird undertones in like the actual lore that go on that
Mm.
like they just I don't think could show in the amount of time they gave for all the stuff they threw in there. So they kind of had to make it more screen friendly with like kind of a general audience, even though it was made for fans, obviously. They still had to
Yeah.
do like things like, oh, these two love each other, but like they don't. Like
Dude,
just
actually, I
weird
don't know.
stuff.
I don't know if you know, our supervisor watched the movie and liked it.
Yeah, no,
So,
I do know
okay.
because I came in that Monday after it came out, and she's
Yeah.
like, I saw Warcraft. And I was just like, what the fuck are you, like, oh, you mean you saw, like, that it's out? Yeah. She's like, no, I went with my son. I was like, that's weird. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I forget why. It was like, I, like, how's today going? Oh, yeah, we went to a movie. Which one? Warcraft. And it was the last movie I thought she would say. Like, it
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
like, wow, all right. Like, I haven't even seen it yet at that point. It was just like, okay, great. Apparently
Yeah.
this movie works then. Like, unless secretly, no, I got, yeah, several max level. I was there day one for Burning
That would be
Crusade. I don't know.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I got fired, what, I'm not going to say the company name. The
Mhm.
reason why I left my other job was so that I could be there for the midnight release and raid with my guild.
Yeah.
That would be really funny.
I don't know.
For context for people, our supervisor is like a 50-year-old, like pretty conservative woman
Hmm.
that
It
seems to not
was.
care about anything except her dog, her husband, and work.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise, but it's just like, hey man, Warcraft movie. It's
yeah.
there it is.
But her
And
son is a huge nerd.
okay,
So
okay,
like the reason she like talked to me a little bit about it, and the reason she went is because her son and his wife like invited her and her husband out for like a dinner and a movie sort of thing, and they went
hmm
to go see Warcraft. This is a son that goes to Comic-Con every year.
okay.
So like yeah, it makes sense
So it
in
fits right
context.
in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just funny that she liked it. That's the funny part.
I mean, it kind of has its own look and feel,
It
maybe, I
totally
felt.
does. Yeah,
Like, it
yeah.
didn't just feel like, oh, this is trying to be Lord of the Rings. It's like, no, this is just way crazier than Lord of the Rings. There's just this
Yeah.
golem, and it's busting up this tower, and I don't know. These orcs look way more exaggerated, but it kind of doesn't matter. I don't know. Pretty impressed.
Yeah.
Oh, that griffin fucked up everything, and I loved it.
That
Like, the
griffin
whole
is
time it
dope.
was doing that, I was just like, all right, this is great. This is so
Yeah.
great. Just
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
this in the back here and really liking it. So, despite starting to feel woozy at that point because it was late in the movie.
Despite like dying basically at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe at some point it's, yeah, fever
Maybe you
dream
were
or something.
just so like stoned from your sickness that you're like, oh, this is dope.
Look at that griffin.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Look at that griffin, you guys. So like
Majestic.
majestical.
I appreciate it in like the IMDb trivia for that movie too. It's kind of like justifying the presence of a griffin because it's like even though in the general timeline griffins hadn't been tamed yet, it was true that this guardian did have one or something. Like it's just like okay, I didn't notice, but
Sure.
because I was just like yeah, I ride those all the time. They're fast travel. It's fine.
Yeah.
But no, they apparently shouldn't have been there. But I was happy it was.
Yeah. It's weird because like the things that are to come if they keep making these movies are the big things that a lot of people will recognize because this was kind of the setup movie, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
for reference, the like last scene of the movie is actually the very beginning of the Alliance because
Okay. Oh.
until then it was just humanity, right? It was just humans. The dwarves had nothing to
Oh
do with
yeah.
this war. The
They're
elves
barely
weren't
in
even
it, but I was glad he was there.
like the
Forger guy with the gun.
yeah, no, exactly. Like the alliance hasn't been formed yet against this threat. This is the first time they're encountering it in their
Mhm.
world, right? So
Mhm.
like the next movie will be like different weird fucked up races basically
Will
joining
enter the
this.
scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, more so than they did, where it's just like, wow, elves look so weird in this world, but that's what they look
But I
like.
mean, they look that
Crap.
weird in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Just seeing it lavishly on the screen was kind of
It's
cool.
dope. And the way that movie starts with the like orc and human like scene from the old games, like the man, it's so good. Done on the big screen with actors.
Mhm.
God, it's so fucking good.
Even that portal was so crazy. Unless that's
The
what you
Dark
mean,
Portal.
like the original invasion or whatever. But just them appearing in a forest and all the trees
Oh, and the
fall.
Black Morass. Yeah, yeah.
Look neat. Uh, hmm. Pop culture, other stuff. What's
Yeah.
the what else?
Maybe we should get into like where have you been? What's been going on?
Well,
It's
I
been
guess
1.5 years.
as of last one, Brittany and I weren't married yet, so
Yeah.
we got married very quietly. There wasn't a big to do about it, but
Right.
yeah. And we immediately went to Japan, which
Right.
was pretty great. I like that country. I don't know, but I was only there for 2 weeks, but very positive impression of it. Osaka and Tokyo. Um, their transit is extraordinary.
I mean,
I'll
compared
say
to
that.
us, all
Yeah,
transit is extraordinary. But yes.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
best. It's the best public transit I have seen. I'm told Seoul, Korea might be better, but
Okay.
it's pretty great. Just trains everywhere and very, very. It makes giant, incredibly dense cities not super intimidating. Like you actually feel like you can get out there and see stuff
Right.
relatively easily. On that trip, I actually read Desperation and the Regulators,
Yeah,
so
okay.
which are companion books, and
I never read Regulators.
it's great. It's like a crazy Twilight Zone episode. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so there's that. That was big stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, just in general, with kind of being like less involved in video game commentating and that kind of thing. I don't know. I kind of got just kind of
Well,
stressed out about. Oh, do I need what?
what happened with Top Down? Like what sparked the leaving there first, maybe?
I think I kind of said on. Hopefully, I hope I said on my last show, but a lot of it I think was Ryan Davis's passing for me.
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
uh kind of hurt the enthusiasm for
Sure.
the industry for me personally.
It was a
And
blow
then
to a lot of people in that industry.
it kind of it calcified a bit at that PAX too. Like I just felt that wasn't joyous for me either. Like there was some kind of weird things that had changed in my worldview or something. I'm trying to think. Like PAX 2012 was like the very magical Double Fine party that happened.
Yep. Yeah, that was a great time actually.
And then in the intervening year, I got way into Idle Thumbs and kind of got caught up on all that stuff. But
Okay.
then it seemed like that knowledge actually made interacting with those people the next year more difficult rather than easier. Because I felt like just kind of, I was just now a fan or whatever, as opposed to just a person, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I kind of had some awkward interactions at a Idle Thumbs meetup that was supposed to happen. And really just was like, I just don't know. This industry is weird. Like there's just so many people. I'm not really an outgoing person, so this is like weirdly intimidating to me.
I mean,
Um,
I wasn't there that year, so that obviously was a huge blow.
well, I didn't have any like social support maybe too in that way. Yeah, like it was. I was
Sure.
there with Brittany and a couple that she knows,
Okay.
and we weren't going to the same panels and stuff, so I was maybe a little more on my own at some of these events and stuff, and just kind of I don't know.
I'm wondering if I was there with you that year. Like, this is a weird, like, just thing to say. But,
Yeah.
like, do you think it would have gone a little bit better if I was just like, no, let's go, like, talk to these dumbass fucking Idle Thumbs guys for a little bit and see what they have to say?
I don't know. I think I was in a kind of melancholic state anyway
Yeah,
because of Ryan Davis and stuff, and that
that
was
was a
coming
rough year.
after the giant bomb panel that year almost seemed like kind of a weird wake or something. Like it was
Right.
I just wasn't in a great place after that. I don't know, yeah. So I got really kind of self-conscious about what would say and how critical I was at times about, like, I don't know. I guess I just, my attitude towards criticism kind of got murky, where it's
Okay.
just kind of, well, almost have to do a little bit with kind of how I assessed Roger Ebert, because he passed away too,
Oh,
and
that's right.
I read his book, watched the movie about him and stuff, and then just kind of like started really wondering, like, what is criticism really for? Like, why is that a school of thought? Like, you have people who kind of just ingest entertainment all the time, but they don't make it themselves, so they're not exactly qualified to,
Sure.
like, I'm not an actor, but that acting was bad. I'm not a writer, but that writing is bad. Like, it's just like, what are you doing? Like, you're just a guy in Chicago. Like, it just didn't, like, I know he wrote a screenplay once, but it just seemed kind of like, well, you don't need to do that. You just kind of be negative in like verbose ways, and that is its own thing. And I guess in theory, you're kind of helping other people decide what to do with their limited, like, entertainment time.
Uh-huh.
But that just didn't, like, it was like, well, in the world of the internet, like, there's thousands of voices doing that now. So I don't know why, like, what I have to say that's different. Like, even talking about Dark Souls, like, I like that I'm playing it, but it is firmly established that Dark Souls is Dark Souls, and it's been vetted. It's fine. They don't need my validation to keep making them.
Right, right.
Uh, but I just, as a person who's been playing video games a long time, I like it. So I just like saying that.
But I
But
mean, people like to hear opinions from people they can relate to, right? Like,
yeah,
it's the same way that, like, when Brad Shoemaker talks about a game, I stop listening to him, which is why I actually
mhm.
stopped listening to that podcast, because I kind of don't care about any of them, really. Like, besides Jeff, because he's kind of like, I don't
Been
know.
in it so long or
He's
something,
just
or
like an idol in that industry in a weird way, where
yeah,
he's just kind of like, if there's like a statue made of like a weird guy who did video game coverage that one time, like
yeah.
he's probably it.
20 years so far. It's
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
So like,
Um,
I just because of his legacy, I kind of care about what he says about stuff, even though I don't agree with most of it ever.
mhm.
But like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of the reason why, like, I like talking to people like Sean or John or like you when we talk or whatever, because it's more relatable, and I think that's what people like to listen to in podcasts. People that are maybe a little more down to earth, like, we still buy our video games. We're not given like this statue that's worth $300 to put in our office, sort of thing.
Mhm.
We're the common man, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's it, but like, I don't actually know either, to be completely honest with you. All I know is that every now and then I say dumb shit about video games and people will agree or disagree with me on Twitter. Like, it's weird.
Hmm. I guess I kind of wanted to maybe like reassess how I was saying what I was saying and what I
Okay.
do. Part of that has also been like kind of personally. I've been going to therapy for the last 6 months just to
Okay.
kind of figure out more about like how my mind works in general, and like just kind of stress things that stress me out, and kind of
Sure.
like shying away from technology and stuff was part of it. Like, just kind of internet habits and social networks and things, kind of like, am I making decisions, or am I just kind of
Part of the
being
echo chamber.
advertised at and like being pulled into the same like gravitational fields or whatever? Like, just kind of,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
you need to care about this because everyone cares about it. Like, you need to watch this. It's like, oh, I hate this though. Like, but feeling weirdly obligated, like kind of this sense of obligation would just develop to be up to speed on all sorts of things that may or may not have mattered
Like, it's
to
hard for
me
you to
personally.
turn that off. That part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm an easy target for some of that stuff. So kind of
Right.
trying to figure out like how I work in that respect, and that recently has actually kind of a thing I really enjoyed was being like really tested for like 4 hours. Like
Okay.
just like here's 50 pictures of objects. Okay, now here's like 50 pairs of objects. Which one did you see before? You know, like here's a person's face. They're like, all right, now I'm gonna flip the page. What did their expression mean or whatever? Like just kind of like weird, all sorts of variety of like kind of psychological questions and stuff. I really really enjoyed that. Just kind of
Okay.
like being stimulated, like just kind of having to really figure out how my mind calculates stuff and what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and like I don't know, spatial reasoning, all these kind of things. So I'm waiting on results from that. They're going to be in a couple weeks,
Okay.
but I don't know. Yeah, just kind of seeing how like my habits form and kind of like the way I fixate on stuff. Autism is a possibility for some of these things. Asperger's specifically, I guess, but that's not a super distinct thing in some way anymore. Like that's not, I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
There's open,
That's a hard thing for people to kind of say
yeah.
yay or nay to, really.
But I guess it kind of just explains some of my like fixations on like one or two areas is where I really have to relate everything to video games or movies in order to process things. Uh, Man, it almost makes me want to like this whole other big topic that I went to my high school reunion last week.
Gross. Okay.
Yeah, and then just kind of got to see like how my old peer group is again, like
Yeah,
just get
yeah.
another sense of it, and just like wow, yeah, this kind of explains a lot because I am kind of
Okay.
different than these people, but this was like who I'm trying to like associate with or be part of this group or whatever. So I don't know. It was its own kind of weird throwback thing. Did you go to yours or nah?
Oh, fuck no. When I got the
Yeah.
invitation, I threw it away.
Yeah. I felt it was like I felt maybe again a weird kind of obligation, but it was just like, well, I am curious. Like I do want to see what happens to that group because they were part of my life for so long.
Yeah, that's
And just kind of
understandable.
I felt, yeah, I had to check it out because it's like a one-time thing, right? You only
Yeah,
get
yeah.
one 10-year reunion. And man, I did not enjoy it socially, really, but
I'm sure. Yeah, I
it
would
it
hate going to
was
mine.
it was at least something to kind of another piece of the puzzle or whatever. But
Right.
I don't know, kind of long-winded, but yeah, just kind of trying to figure out how to not be super negative when comparing stuff even. Like last night I was trying to write up some thoughts about like my Poltergeist 3 experience
Yeah, yeah.
and then ended up kind of saying something negative about Insidious, but then I stopped because it's just like, well, I don't know. Like I haven't seen Insidious in a while
And like, why
and
do I feel I have to drag something else down because I like something?
yeah, like I
Yeah.
know it's sort of similar the first movie to the first Poltergeist a little bit, but that's fine. It's decades apart.
Sure.
Like maybe that's a part of the inspiration. Like that's just how things work. Like I don't need to be mean to this other movie for liking this other movie. Like it just doesn't make sense. So like yeah, or even like appreciating like that initial kind of like oh I don't know about Stranger Things. Like it looks like they're trying really hard to do this thing, and it's like well they are, but it's a thing you like. So why would you be mad at them for liking it? Like it
Mhm.
doesn't really benefit anybody, and then you wouldn't have
Least
a
of
good
all
time.
you. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just end up feeling kind of really grudgy. Like I do get that though. Still with like media I don't care about. Like I'm weirdly sensitive now to like hearing music in restaurants and stores. Like I'm just like I just don't want this to be on, but I don't have any right to say stop it kind of thing.
Do you have
So
a specific song or something? Maybe an idea of like
oh
what you don't
man,
like?
I'm trying to think what it was the last time. Oh man, I don't like that. Is it Megan Trainor Future Husband?
I don't know. Sure.
All right, that's a song.
Okay.
I don't really like that song. I first encountered that song twice in the same like session of watching animated music videos at Odafest this year.
Okay.
So it was just like already not a great like double dose of this song I'd never heard of before, and then just hearing it in a HMV like a week ago, I was just like, oh, great, great. There was another one though. We were in a small, like, just because it's everywhere. Like, we were in a small, like, secondhand bookstore in Vernon, and just they have a radio on, so some pop song about being cool. I don't know. I don't know what it
Okay.
is. It's just, yeah, something new. But just like with modern, you have your podcast, you have your iPod, you can kind of select what you're hearing or reading or anything, like
Yeah, yeah.
and what you're watching, that's up to you. When it isn't is kind of weirdly like annoying to me now because it's just like, no, like why are you playing this? What if we all had headphones on and we don't need any music in the mall anymore? Just turn it off. I don't know. That's weird though, right? That's just mean to the
I
mall.
mean,
It's unrealistic though, right?
it's definitely unrealistic. I don't know if it's weird so much, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it seems to me like it's one of those things that like we all have those feelings, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
However, you're lacking the patience to deal with it.
Well, just that it
Like for
sticks a
like for
little bit.
yourself maybe. Cuz
Yeah.
like I get impatient about a lot of dumb things that a lot of other people are like, just chill, like it doesn't matter or whatever. I think
Hmm.
this is just like that's one of your versions of just like this other stuff here.
I think part of it is like I also kind of view everybody who's making media as like a weird like peer group now. Like it's just like,
Okay.
well, that music artist, like, why are they being on the like trumpeted on the radio? Like why them versus like band X on Bandcamp or something? Like it's all
Yeah.
valid. So it's just kind of, yeah, I just get really jaded and cynical really quickly about like how people get to the top and whatnot, like
That
popularity.
that's always been a thing for you, though. That's
Yeah,
that's nothing new. I
that's
remember
not new,
a
and
few
it's
PewDiePie rants.
yeah, his kind of situation, and like not only that, but like some weirdly affirming things, like the Beastcast and the Bombcast has been saying about him because he's been in the news lately with like what was it?
Shadows of
Oh, the
Mordor.
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Like just kind of be like, man, yeah, I totally respect him and what he does. It's like, why the fuck would you say that? Because you're like a hardworking journalist. So I don't get it. But I just don't get it. Like I just don't get it. I even had to throw a negative word in there because I actually still don't get it.
Right.
like the like yeah, just kind of consuming other media for the entertainment of other people just seems like, well, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. Why would the
But
video game creator,
you're not wrong, I think.
you know,
I
like
think it's a
just
way to think about it, but I think in another way it's kind of like, well, what gives you the right to show Uncharted 4 to your friend and only play it like when he's around? He's not doing anything. He's just watching
that's
you.
right. That's
Like
right.
it's just kind of that on like
A
a bigger
grand
scale.
scale though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just like yeah, this weird kind of the scale of it. I guess just yeah, if you're I think it's something that does stress me out though because I kind of have this like the fear of the internet thing, but then I see that like, well, the internet is the way you have to get comfortable with it if you're going to be a success nowadays. Like if you're going to have
Well,
an audience, you need to be comfortable with an audience. So you need to
I
get to that.
think
And it's just
it's
like, oh, I don't know
I
if I
don't think
can
it's
though.
healthy to be too comfortable either though. Honestly.
Okay.
I do sincerely think that like there has to be points where you turn off Twitter. You like don't talk to people that like view your content and stuff, or like you see a bunch of emails and maybe you just don't answer some of them because they're like questions you've answered before, or like they're just weirdly inflammatory in a backhanded way. Like I think it's
Hmm.
important to know your boundaries as a person and to take
Hmm.
them, because the internet, like as I'm sure you can attest to and maybe are finding out like more professionally than I ever would through the shit I've
Hmm.
been through, like it can ruin you as a human being. Just
Hmm.
having like even like 20 to like thousands of people saying different shit or even the same shit at you, like it can break you,
Okay.
I think.
I think I have a really thin skin for that stuff. I'm actually thinking back to like 1998, like some of my first online interactions ever. I remember playing
Message
like,
boards.
well, it was like kind of an MSN game zone or something where you could play chess and stuff, but
Yeah.
also chat.
I remember
And I
that.
was
Yeah.
really into Godzilla movies at the time and was just incessantly asking everybody about Godzilla stuff in the chat. That's all I cared about.
Okay.
And I remember like I pissed off a guy once where he's just like, just fucking play checkers or something. Like it was just like, oh wow. And I got so upset. Like I just quit the game. I was just like, oh my God, like I just made that guy so mad. Like I really upset that person. I can't believe that. And I was just like super frazzled for like that was it. It's probably
Hmm.
the last time I did that. And like a similar thing happened not that like maybe 3, 4 years ago where I was like just kind of like having fun on Omegle asking everybody about Friendship is Magic. And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
it was just kind of like someone was like, yeah, I'm really thinking about killing myself. I was like, fuck. Like I just got pulled right into this weird web of like, no, don't, what? And like got really invested in that. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like I just can't reach out to the internet. Like there's millions of people with millions of problems, and I can't solve them, and that stresses me out. So
Sure.
it was just like, just not being exposed to that stuff is my like I feel kind of like just crappy. Like I just quit. Like I just walked off the play field or whatever. But
So,
I
like,
don't
to
know.
you, that sort of stuff outweighs for you the, like, maybe positive things, like meeting a cool new person who also really loves Godzilla movies, and they're like, yeah, man, let's just talk about this. Fuck checkers. Like,
It's like that's the thing. I found like one person who likes Godzilla, one person who likes like movies and some kinds of movies, another person likes some kind of movies. Like I have like a small circle that kind of satiate a lot of my core interests.
yeah, yeah.
So like I don't know, I don't know about like expanding beyond that. It gets kind of stressful to me. Like I don't know. It's just I don't feel like well suited to what the large scale possibilities of the internet demand. I
Right.
just don't know that I'm right. So yeah, I guess just kind of figuring that out in therapy, and also kind of just letting my own interests like connect to other ones, and like there's no pressure to move on. I kind of like part of it. I think with Top Down was like they did get really comfortable with live video stuff, and I didn't.
Right. Kind of
Um,
like how we did for a while.
yeah, like I just don't prefer that way. Even the Bombcast though, they just started doing live video stream stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
like it's the way now. Like it's moving away from the way I got comfortable with. But it's also just like letting my interests take as deep a root as they do without feeling like pressure to kind of move on to the next trend or like not continue to repeat this. Like when I got way into Grand Budapest Hotel, I got way into Grand Budapest Hotel. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
read Austrian literature until now. Like I still do because of that movie. And it's just like, yeah, Stefan Zweig is great, and I can tell you more and more about him with each passing month because I'm slowly absorbing more of that material. But that movie was 2 years ago. People are done, but I'm not done. So
Right.
like I just keep digging where I set up kind of thing. Like I like this music artist, I will listen to everything they do. Like, oh, there's new stuff that's better. I don't know about that. Like I just don't move on. So like right now it's Souls games. I'm gonna dig for a while here. And yeah, I don't know what like yeah, Souls games, Stephen King, that's what's going on right now.
Right.
Like for when like Better Call Saul was on like season 2, I was like kind of parlaying that into other stuff. It's like, hey, this is all about lawyers. I want to play Phoenix Wright. Kind of like get into tangents from this and like go there. And just I don't know, it's something I'm kind of not sure fits how fast paced you need to be relevant, I guess. The way I sense it, the way I
Uh-huh.
perceive it.
I see what you're talking about. On the other hand, I'll flip this around for a second and say
Yeah.
one of the best, like, there's a reason for it, obviously, but one of the best podcasts that we did for the longest time, number wise, was Retro Kill Screen. Like,
Okay.
I'm sure some of it's from John, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, I think a big part of it is when people are into something, they will look up something like, I don't know, Mega Man X, and see that like this YouTuber guy talked with his friend for about it for like an hour and a half, and that's all we talked about for that time. Like I
So
think
just
people do
hearing
like
like
the niche
part of
things, but
Yeah,
it's a different type. Like, the thing is that obviously, as you know, I don't really care about like internet fame or any of this shit. Like, I kind of don't want to play video games as a career, to be honest with you, because I like it as a hobby. Like, I
yeah.
don't want to have to feel like if I don't play this new game for 40 hours this week and stream it, I'm not eating. Like, that's not a thing I want ever, because that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But what I like is kind of like the niche thing. And I think we've, like, when we did this regularly, I think the audience we had, while smaller, obviously, than maybe something we could have reached out on, kind of like Top Down does with its very formulaic approach of, like, this is what we played, this is the news going on right now, hot tips, hot news, and then, like,
Hmm.
questions or whatever for community participation. That's a whole different thing. But I've always kind of liked, like, doing this podcast, having, like, a thing with, like, 5 notes on it of, like, what we've been doing, and then it's just like a 5-hour discussion with tangents and like just talking about this stuff. So like I'm
Hmm.
okay with doing that sort of thing. So
I guess removed from like the one way of like well from participating in like the Twitter side and the doing the kind of regular news show side too, because that kind of would determine what I'm doing that week. Because like a new game is out, or you got to keep up on the same kind of stories. So I'm
yeah,
like
yeah,
kind of having to listen to like either other podcasts or reading news stories, like the same news stories that everybody is reading about what's going on right now, watching
yeah.
those live streams, keeping up
Honestly,
on the press conferences and all that stuff.
I don't necessarily care a lot about that stuff, but
Like,
like the
yeah.
nice thing about Top Down is that I don't usually pull the news. I just kind of
Hmm.
like learn about it as they talk about it because I kind of don't care about industry stuff, to be completely honest with you. I just like talking to like my friends,
So it's
basically.
a fun way to hear the news.
Sure.
Is like from somebody like I haven't really delved too much into like Dark Souls facts and stuff because I prefer to hear it from friends who have played the
Yeah,
game.
yeah, for sure.
So it just kind of maintains some kind of like my own personal adventure through it. Like should I be going in the demon rooms next or no?
Right.
Like I'll ask after, I guess, because it's kind
Oh,
of
you're
specific. But
asking me.
yeah, I'm asking.
See,
Sorry.
the thing
Yeah,
that I kind of want you to do is play it the way I played it and just kind of do whatever
figure it out, feel it out.
a
I
little
guess
bit.
so.
And then if you get
Yeah,
stuck, like just send me a text or something.
you're right. I'm
Like,
not at a point where I'm like stuck.
right.
I feel I'm stronger than I was before, so maybe I should just
And
go.
honestly, in Dark Souls 1, I don't think will ever be a part you get stuck where you don't know what to do. You'll just
Yeah,
get stuck in the sense that, oh fuck, I don't want to do that. All right, let's go.
yeah. Like this gate open, there's these weird snake men and
Yeah. And
boulders.
then you're just like, nope, nope, nope.
It went okay for a while, but
Yeah.
anyway. But yeah, like I guess just I I guess I can talk about what I'm doing. Like I journal more, so I kind of am chronicling that stuff on a daily basis,
Right, right.
in some format.
Like, I guess my question to you to kind of wrap up this whole podcast, because we're running a little late, later
Yeah,
than I
yeah.
thought we would anyway.
Oh, okay.
Um, like, what's next? Like, is this a thing you feel comfortable doing again? Like, more regularly, less regularly? With, I know you're not going to get a Twitter again and stuff, and that's fine because I kind of don't mind the, like, quote unquote PR side of like
Okay.
randomly talking to people. I'm perfectly fine with being the person saying, like, if you want to know about a subject or something, and then like if I like it, I'll like relay it to you. I can be that
Hmm.
intermediary. I don't mind that at all.
Okay.
So like, but even the question comes up of, for the longest time when we did this podcast, well, like we started getting listeners regularly, we never even took questions or voicemails or anything. Do we want to even like worry about that stuff anymore, or is it just kind of like an audio journal of our conversations again, like it used to be?
I might prefer the second one,
Yeah.
just so I don't feel like I appreciate that people are interested in me like checking out stuff they like and whatnot, but I feel like this is a thing that like I do take the suggestions seriously. Even people that have like interacted with me personally at work, like suggest a book or something. It's
Yeah.
like Okay, I will add that to the list, but you must understand the list is 782 books long right
And
now.
you do take it serious. Like, I'll be completely honest with people listening. If you say something like, you should check this out, I'll look up something about it. If it doesn't look interesting to me, I just won't. Nathan is the
Okay.
type of person who will actually seek that out, buy a copy, and play it. So when you guys say something like, you should check out Persona 3 if you really like this thing, he is the type of person to be like, I really like this thing. I guess I'm playing 100 hours of Persona 3 to see if I like that too.
I just got to figure out where to put that.
It's
And
just too
like,
much for
I
him.
almost like want to flow into that media in the most natural way possible. Like, I don't want to force it into
Yeah,
my
yeah.
schedule. It's just kind of like, man, like I just heard this really great like anecdote about this moment in Persona 4 and like 5's coming out. I'm gonna play Persona 3 right now or something. Like if it just feels
Yeah,
perfect
yeah.
then, then that's great. But if it's not kind of like the perfect moment to watch that or play that or listen to that or whatever, it just I feel like I'm doing that media a disservice or something.
Right.
Like it's just kind of like you only get to experience it for the first time one time. So I
Yeah.
kind of want to give it the best chances of having the experience people are saying these positive things about it or whatever. So
Right.
like if something's in a hype bubble, if something's kind of being talked about very intensely or very aggressively or angrily, like I kind of don't want to
Want to
weigh
know.
in at
Yeah.
that point because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like well, okay. Like I have no schedule to keep on that front, so I'll wait a couple years, see how Room and Deadpool look then, and then check it out or something, or
Sure.
see how Metal Gear Solid 5 feels in 2018 or whatever. Like just it doesn't matter the same way it did to me.
Right.
So it's just kind of well, the media exists. It will forever. So
Yeah.
I can approach it during a slow season in the future when there's things aren't working or we can't upgrade to VR yet, so might as well go back through some conventional gaming or something. Like
Right.
there's going to be times where that'll make sense. So like, yeah, Pokemon, like people love it. There's what's that robot show?
Mr.
I'm
Robot.
sorry. Oh man, I don't have positive feelings about Mr.
I
Robot.
don't know it at all. So,
Okay, but
yeah.
no. The one with the restaurant that we went to in Japan. It's a very popular anime series. There's many permutations of it.
Oh,
Uh,
Pokemon.
uh, yeah, no, the one with the robots,
Yeah,
space robots.
Pokemon.
Yeah, oh yeah, right, the one with the
Gundam?
Gundam. That's the one. That's the one.
I know Brittany's super into Gundam, so it makes sense.
That's the thing. Japan has so much media of its own
Yeah.
that adding that to the possibility space is crazy too. Like it's just like we're just now watching some Cowboy Bebop, and
Yeah.
it seems all right.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
But like I know that was like the big hot business in like 2000, and hey, here we are 16 years later, finally seeing what that was about. That's
Sure.
the pace we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
But
you
at the
know,
same time, we talked about Ghostbusters here. That came out a couple weeks. Like, the thing is
yeah,
that stuff
it
you're
doesn't need
interested
to be
in
timely.
might
Yeah.
be relevant at the time.
Sure. Like that was something it's like, no, I do want to check that out on the day it comes out. Like that's something of interest to me.
Yeah, yeah. Sure.
Like yeah. So it can happen. It's just it's not guaranteed to happen and I don't want to
No.
like be pushed into doing that kind of stuff
No.
out of a weird sense, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
that's something I feel weird about with criticism is like they're being paid to do it, they're kind of in a negative state. They watch movies all the time. Like, are they really the best people to say whether something is truly enjoyable or of merit?
No.
Like, I don't know.
Because the people that went to go see Warcraft that panned it probably had something else they wanted to do that weekend. They had a funeral they had to go to the day before, maybe. Like,
Sure,
there's a bunch of
there's so many
reasons that color it.
factors. Yeah, and like people can revise, and it's just like, yeah, actually, I saw it like months later, and whoops. But in the meantime, they've deterred like hundreds of people from seeing it or thousands, and
Right.
like it's just kind of a weird thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
just miscommunicating that kind of stuff. But okay, I guess we're running a bit long, so
Yeah.
um,
So I guess in wrap up, we'll try to do these somewhat regularly because I do like just being able to chat about whatever. Like, it's it's especially better when I actually have something to say about it. that's when it gets really fun. When we disagree on something I like, because, like, I think you do articulate reasons why to like something that maybe I don't like, or like dislike something I like enough that like it's interesting to talk with you about it, where it's not so interesting to talk with some other people that
Okay.
I've like met online and stuff, where they're just like, well, no, because like, for example, like if we were talking about Persona and you're just like, I really don't like this or whatever,
Hmm.
most people would just be like, yeah, no, but Persona's great, so you should like it. Like, there's no reasoning behind it, where like, I like the conversations we have, so just based on that, I'd like to do this more regularly. And like, if people wanted to like maybe get some stuff, just talk to me on Twitter. Like, I'll take it in, and then if it's relevant somehow, maybe I'll bring it up. But like, we're not gonna do questions, comments, emails, or any of that sort of thing like we used to. Mainly because, there's no reason to. Burning Barrel podcast is still going to be a thing. If you want to send stuff in for that, I'm sure me and Hank could probably just make fun of you or whatever for your
Hmm.
opinions. I'm okay with that. TDP is like the show that is really meant for that sort of stuff. So like
Yeah,
if
there's a
you
lot of question conversation on there, so
yeah, so
it
like
kind of
there's
thrives
other
on.
what I would like to do is I think when we were at our best was in this weird space where we started getting people listening and they would send in questions that were relevant. Like it got a little weird and silly at the end where we were talking about like how many people died that year and stuff instead of like a top 10 list. Like it got
Sure.
it got
Which I
weird.
mean, this year's been extraordinary for that too. But
It's been a really bad year for that.
I mean, I'm sure there's some amazing Prince scholar out there who knows so much more, and that person is the person you
Like
should
I'm
listen
sure
to.
we could still talk about that at some point, but like I
That
don't know.
Batman soundtrack. But yeah,
Weird
that
shit
we're not the
happening and
people. Yeah.
no, I think when I really liked what we did was
I
during the
mean,
movie monks media monks thing where we would just kind of like
mhm.
talk about if it's gross that
I
like
still
we
like
found
that game.
Chloe Grace Moretz hot as she's like 10 or whatever.
Well, in that no, it was in that in Dark Shadows.
Yeah,
They
that's right.
do sexualize her, and it's like that's not
Right.
appropriate yet. You were making me a
Oh
bad
no,
person.
you're right. You're right. They
Yeah, like
sexualize her. It's not that we found her hot. It's
it's
that
just that the
they sexual.
character,
Yeah, yeah.
like Tim Burton, I don't know, man. What's he doing? But puts things in a strange light. But anyway, um, I'm trying to just track back a little bit to. Sorry,
Yeah, no.
now I'm just thinking about like Johnny
About
Depp's
Chloe.
career, and I don't know, like he was in. Oh wait, he was in Yoga Hosers apparently, right? Did you check that out?
Is that out?
I feel like it must be because there's already ratings for it and stuff, but it might be kind of doing a traveling
Yeah.
smodcast circuit or
No, I
something.
know
So
they're doing that right now. I just didn't know if it was also out.
okay, it I guess not properly, like it's not readily available. But
I mean,
anyway,
I'll
that's
check
not
that
what I
out,
was
I
trying to.
guess.
That's not what I was trying to.
Sure.
Um.
Oh, September 2nd for people wanting to know about yoga hosers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Sure. Like if there's no okay, right. If somebody like passes away and that actually leads to yeah, all I did the past week was listen to Bowie albums or something. Like if that's actually what was the catalyst for something like that, then it's
It
actually
makes sense.
pertinent.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of feeling obligated to relay all that more news style
Right, right.
entertainment information. I don't feel like any of that is really that like I still find myself churning through IMDb news every day, and I probably shouldn't. So some of that
Yeah.
stuff might bubble up still, but hopefully only if it actually mattered to something I did that week. I think I'm being better at actually being mindful of what I'm actually doing. So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
exactly. Um.
Well,
So yeah, I guess thanks for listening to this long rambly conversation if you did and
yeah.
benefited from it in some way. And yeah, if you're upset that I haven't checked out Deadpool or something, like, hey, he's got plenty of fans. I think
Yeah.
he'll do all right
No,
without my
trust me,
$12. So
Deadpool's doing fine without you.
yeah, they're gonna make more of those films, I'm sure, and Ryan Reynolds will be immortalized forever. So you did
Yeah.
it. Good job.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. Wade
So-
Wilson? What's his name?
It's Wade Wilson. You got it.
Okay.
So yeah,
Good.
I guess that's an episode though.
Yeah.
So-
2016 edition.
How does it feel?
Pretty. I'm surprised that I'm not like my throat isn't as dry as I thought it would be. Maybe I'll feel it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I don't usually talk this much anymore. But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. It's weird to be back, but good. It's a good feeling. See you next time.